You're taking me away from the dogs, man, but okay.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, May 24th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gimbo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1036.
This is No Agenda.
Teasing the talking tubes and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I have no pens that work. None. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Now, this is kind of odd because we have been through the entire pen exercise on the show. And you should have
unbelievable.
boxes.
Here I got pen after pen.
Oh, they don't work.
What I'm going to start to do is I'm going to start to read the name. These are all sample pens that you get at conventions.
Of course. Why pay for an actual pen? That would be crazy.
Why when they're giving them away?
Yes. I still have my my Energel metal tip 0.7 millimeter ball pens.
Yes.
Those are nice.
Do they still work?
Yeah.
Well, let's see what we got here.
You must write a lot.
I've got one from Solar Frontier. Let's see if it works. That one works. I'll use that.
Pen audit. Here we go, everybody. This is the big show you've been hearing about. Glad you made it. Where we audit pens.
Yes. People are going to put their brand name on a pen. Seems to me they should put it on a good pen.
It's not quite as nutty as the terms of service I received for my thermostat.
Was it a Nest?
Yes. The terms of service for turning up the heat or turning down the temperature are insane. You have to be 13.
They're not taking any responsibility for this thing actually working.
And you have to be 13 to operate it.
What?
It's in the terms of service. Yeah. You got to be 13. If you're not 13, don't operate it. It's dangerous.
You violated the terms of service.
Yeah, you did.
The warranty is void.
That's right. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, and they can just shut you off if they feel, the thing doesn't work without an internet connection. So
what good is it then?
Well, it's going out. I don't care what the building thinks of it. It's out. I don't want that thing here.
Oh, as soon as you pull it out, it's gonna beep, 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 beep. Internet connection lost. Internet connection lost. Room
fraudster.
47B.
Send a drone response team. Send a Nest response team right away.
Who knows what'll happen?
Yeah, I'd pull it out, just a switch.
Oh, man.
On and off.
Yes.
That's all you need.
Well, actually, I think I have it here. Yes. There's all kinds of stuff happening on the interwebs that you'll need permissions for, and you have to sign off on, and you need, license. We've been talking about an internet license coming for a long time, a podcast license, and now the president even seems to be under legislative rule from the Supreme Court.
We have a news alert now for you. Let's get to Julia Borst.
Actually, not Supreme Court, but high enough.
It was a federal,
federal court, yes.
With that, Julia.
Here we go.
A federal judge.
I love the little floor director going, here we go.
Borsten with that, Julia.
Here we go. All right.
A federal judge saying that President Trump cannot block Twitter users from viewing his feed, saying that President Trump blocking users from viewing what he tweets on Twitter is unconstitutional and would violate the First Amendment. This comes after a federal judge had encouraged a settlement suggesting that Trump mute rather than block some of his followers on Twitter in order to resolve a lawsuit. So the ruling now is that blocking those followers is not allowed.
That is really interesting. And it's a 75-page judgment.
Couple of things. I find this to be ludicrous because, first of all, if somebody blocks you, you can still see their tweets.
Yeah, you can just click see the tweet.
Out.
Yeah.
You log out.
You don't even have to do that. I think these days there's an interface where you can say, "Show it to me anyway."
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
You would know.
You would know. That's something else.
You would know.
I would.
Yeah.
There is a show it to me anyway thing that has to do with you blocking somebody. If you block them and you want to see their tweets, you can show it to me anyway.
Right.
But so that's the other way around.
Got
it.
Yeah.
But you just log out and you just look for Trump and you can read all of Trump's tweets. So what's the big deal? They're not completely blocked out.
I love that the judge says, you should just mute them. The whole idea is, well, it's a new age. So at least we're laying down the law, whether it seems logical or not.
This is a private operation. Twitter's not owned by the government. They're not required.
Hold on a second. Now, here's a thought for you. So if the Wall Street Journal, if WAPO, if the WAPO does an interview with the president, I have a constitutional right to read that, and they can't paywall me.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, seriously, you cannot read Washington Post. Even my cartelizer has a hard time getting beyond the paywall. So I think that's unconstitutional, and we should file a suit, class action against Bezos.
Yeah,
or not.
I think the argument against Twitter is the same as the one you just made.
I don't know. I'll have to look. I started reading it this morning, and then I realized it was 75 pages. I'm like, okay, I have some other stuff to do.
75. Why is it so long?
Because it's ludicrous. That's why. It shouldn't have to take 75 pages to explain.
No, the guy's a feather better. The guy who has that job, that judge, he's just stalling it. This is his job. He likes writing.
I think it's a she, actually.
He wants to be a novelist.
I think it's a she.
It's a she?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, the she judge wants to be a novelist.
The she judge. Yeah. Well, but it's worth considering. If that's unconstitutional, then I have a constitutional right to read everything that is being printed about him, and that should not come at a cost.
That's actually a really funny idea.
Mm-hmm. I'm here all week.
Send it to Roger Stone.
Yeah, call Roger Stone. In the UK, meanwhile, this is great. We've been hearing about this for a number of years, and now it seems to be getting extremely close to being codified into law in Gitmo Nation East in the UK. As you will now have to pick up a 16-digit code from your local news agent or place where you buy your smokes, or 7-Eleven, basically, UK version, to be able to view pornography online. It is called the Porn Pass. And if this legislation is passed, then everyone will need to have a code to be able to watch pornography. You'll get it at your local news agent, who will also be deputized.
Who arrest you on the spot.
They will be deputized to collect and retain identity documents from the nation's pornography viewers.
Well, hackers can crack that.
Well, of course, but forget that. What is going on? Why are these people? Why are you accepting that, UK? It just made. I'm flabbergasted that they're okay with this.
They're okay with everything. They're okay with the cameras on every corner, and in their houses and pubs. It's and yet garbage cans, the garbage can.
Yeah. If you're not doing it right, you're not separating your recyclables properly.
There's a fine.
Mm-hmm.
So over the weekend there was the Miss USA contest.
Yeah, and you had promised you wouldn't do this anymore. So
no,
I presume
I said
something.
I was retiring. I didn't promise. I said I was stopping. I didn't promise anything. I just said I wasn't going to do it anymore.
You're like Susan Lucci.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the Susan Lucci of pageant podcasting.
I kept it very short. I've only got 3 clips total.
Okay,
and a few comments.
I'm loving it, baby.
So there was the last newsletter I showed an example. Trump used to own this operation. It's owned by Miss Universe. And every time they do a show, they do some nasty thing to Trump, as though they hated the previous owner. Like I don't know what the point of that is.
It was grabbing him by the pussy.
And so they had this Stormy Daniels lookalike. You saw the newsletter.
Yeah, I saw the newsletter. I didn't know that this had taken place. I didn't hear much about it on the.
Very poorly promoted ever since Trump left.
Yeah,
but you saw the picture of this girl.
Yeah,
and someone suggested
dead ringer.
Ultra.
Dead ringer for ringer. Stormy. Yeah, dead ringer.
Skinny, thin. She's not fat like Stormy is. And
16, size 16, if she's an ounce.
Yeah. Anyway, so they had that. I thought that was just a slam against Trump. Let's put her in there and start off the gown competition with her walking out there. But the one that won was this perky Miss Nebraska, who reminded me a little bit of Danica Patrick.
Oh, from the Miss GoDaddy.
Yeah, she same kind of look, only she's a bleached blonde, and always smugging and saying cute things and winking and curling up her nose and cocking her head and doing a shimmy, and she's always in motion, flirting with the judges, and I thought she wasn't going to win because of this final competition when they had to. I'm going to start at the end and work backwards. But the last question, this is a long clip, but this is the last question. 3 women were left. There was Miss Nevada, who looked like Marta. This is the inside material for us.
Okay, I know exactly what she looked like.
And then Miss North Carolina, who was a kind of, I don't know, she's a multi-culty looking woman. There's a lot of those in the competition. In fact, I was stunned that the bleach blonde from Nebraska won it all. But I was thinking, if you listen to these answers to this one question, they did we're going to all ask you the same question. There's 3 of them. Yeah. We're going to ask you the exact same question, and then that's going to be the final question. They had a question before that where they asked each other questions. It was lame. I didn't clip it. But I clipped this, and I'm going to tell you why I think Miss North Carolina was going to win. I would put money on it after this question.
Woo-hoo! All right, you ready?
I hope so.
That's starting with this. Stop. This is the winner right off the bat, Miss Nebraska.
Here's your question. You're on your way to a march, and someone hands you a blank sign and a marker. What do you put on your sign and why?
The correct answer is, of course, I'm not going to bullshit you. I just want a beer.
I say speak your voice. I don't know what march we're on our way to in this hypothetical situation, but no matter where you're going, whatever type of march it is, you're obviously on your way to that march because you care about that cause. So go speak to people when they have questions, communicate with them, listen to their views also. That is one thing in the United States that we really need to focus on. Is listening to each other.
Thank you, Nebraska.
Thank you very much.
So this year they do all the same question for all the top 3 candidates?
They had the top 5 or top 5, and they did questions for each of them, all written by the other girl, so it was no politics.
Oh, gotcha.
And that was dull. So then they decided the top 3, they're going to do the one question for all 3 women. And it was and it was also a neutral kind of question, except for the fact there was a protest going on. So, but hers was hear my voice or say your voice or something. It made no sense grammatically, but that's what her answer was.
Okay. Please remove North Carolina's headphones. North Carolina, please come join us.
Hi. You ready?
I am. I was just jamming out to Pitbull.
Here is your question. You're on your way to a march, and someone hands you a blank sign and a marker. What do you put on your sign, and why?
I would put on my sign, your body, your rights. As someone who was sexually assaulted, as someone who stood up and fought against my perpetrators, I am all about marching for your body, for your rights. Nobody ever has the opportunity or has the right to touch you, to drug you, to do anything, to sexually assault you, harass you. That's never acceptable.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, North Carolina.
Thank you.
Okay, please remove Nevada's headphones. Hey, Nevada, please.
Do we have a backstory on her assault?
It was never revealed in the show, but she's brought it up a couple of times that she was a victim of sexual abuse.
Yes, victim. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, before we listen to Nevada, she has her story. She's also had a thing that was a problem for her.
Well, she got to top that. She got to top the victimhood. That's a tough one.
She tops it because she and both her and North Carolina have these issues. And I thought, now let's explain what I was thinking after this is over, why I thought North Carolina was going to win, but play Nevada.
Join us. Are you ready?
So ready.
All right, here's your final question. You're on your way to a march, and someone hands you a blank sign and a marker. What do you put on your sign, and why?
I put on my sign, let's work together to eliminate homelessness. There are approximately 500,000 people suffering from this situation on a given night. And in my state of Nevada, we are ranked number 3 in the whole nation for having that much amount of homeless youth. I want to be an advocate and continue to raise awareness for the situation, because if I experience this firsthand, I can use my platform to raise awareness for these youth, to never give up on their dreams no matter your circumstance. Your past does not define your future. You can make anything happen if you believe, because if I did, they can too.
Well,
Absolutely. Thank you, Nevada.
I am, quite frankly, I'm a little shocked. I had expected something harsher.
What do you mean harsher? You in terms of the signage or in terms of the politics of the show?
Well, in terms of what happened.
Well, the thing is, I was thinking as I watched this, and I have to say they backed off a little bit. The women, by the way, just as a generality, since we do these executive comments that we do.
Well, let's do this just so we don't get into trouble.
Well, it probably won't get us into trouble. But.
Executive mode.
Here we go. We're in. We're good.
They're all the women were gorgeous. And I mean, maybe one or two exceptions, but they weren't even noticeable. I mean, even the Stormy Daniels lookalike was dynamite looking. And it was just, they did a very good job of finding women. I don't know how many real competitions there were. They just found them and put them in the thing. And then, they had maybe 2 or 3 real girls at the end. So there was no complaining about that. And they all looked good and everything. There was, they couldn't express themselves that well necessarily, but most of them didn't get to talk. There was a moment at the beginning where they all came out and gave us a bunch of bull crap. In fact, I'll play that clip before I get to my little analysis. A bunch of bull crap where they put woman after woman after woman up there to talk about, we're here to give voice to women as this is the reason for the competition. It was nonsense. Play this clip.
Got it.
And empower each other. We have a chance to make so many changes to this world and make a huge difference.
2018 is the year of women stepping up and fighting back, and I welcome those challenges.
No matter words, Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, Time's Up movement, speak up, speak now, blow that whistle.
And there are 51 of us here that we are all using our voice in a powerful way, and I think that's so inspiring.
That's why we're here, is to give voice to women and to definitely stand up.
There's just no stopping. We have to continue breaking that glass ceiling.
And I will say, the show more than doubled its ratings. 2.9 million viewers compared to 1.1. No, wait a minute. So 0.1.
Well, the point is that this beauty contest.
I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's down. Incorrect. It's down from 2.9 to 1.1.
Who knew about it? I didn't even see it advertised once.
Yeah.
But the point of this beauty contest is not to give voice to women. It's an insult to all women for them to say that.
You know what? They should have. One of those 3 answers should have been, because we had. It's important. You're going for what you stand for. Listen to each other. Then we had, your body is your body. And what was the third one? Homelessness. Where was the DACA chick? We should. One of the answers should have been as an undocumented American. That's what I was expecting to hear.
That would have been interesting, but they didn't pull that off.
If we had
I was under the distinct impression after listening to those 3 answers that the woman who had been sexually assaulted, and they all could have been Miss USA. It doesn't. They weren't. I mean, they were different.
Yeah, of course, enough, they're all qualified winners, John.
No one loses. I thought Miss North Carolina would get it because of her background of being sexually assaulted. There is less chance of her getting involved in any hanky-panky that
On
would
the road.
embarrass the club.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm saying, oh, well, they're going to pick her because they know she's not going to fool around or do a Harvey Weinstein or anything. And so I was stunned that they gave it to Miss Nebraska, although I should have remembered what we've talked about in the past, which is that these things are rigged.
Political.
And, well, they're political, but this wasn't that political. They were rigged. Remember the girl who saw the list of the winners and how they're going to progress, and then they sued her for seeing the memo and all the rest of it? Well, I realized that early in the competition, out of the blue, Miss Nebraska was picked out for a stand-up.
And the other ones didn't, just for no reason?
Out of the blue, they played. I got the clip here. This is a standalone ramble she was given the opportunity to give about a half an hour before the winner was announced.
Welcome back to Miss USA. I'm backstage with Nebraska. Before you're about to go out there in the evening gown competition, first of all, congrats on top 10.
Thank you so much. I'm honored, very honored.
Now, you want to make a mark. This is your time to shine. So do you have a strategy for the evening gown competition portion?
I think that's just it. Thinking of it as my time to shine.
Wait a minute. A strategy? What, for the evening gown competition? A strategy. Well, I thought
this whole thing.
I put one foot in front of the other. Think about it for a moment, and then I'll keep going.
Just it. Thinking of it as my time to shine. Taking the time I can on this stage to connect with these empowered judges, selection committee. It's amazing. And then just connecting through the cameras, as silly as that sounds, to all.
Stop. You had to back it up. She creates this word connectioning.
Oh, I miss connectioning. Oh, wait.
First of all, back it up a little bit more. Yeah. She says to empower. She uses the word. She throws all these buzzwords and she throws the word empower to the judges. I mean, these empowered judges. I mean, she's just completely off the rails. But when she says connectioning, I'm rolling my eyes.
And she won.
Yeah, she won.
Thinking of it as
isn't the prize like a scholarship? So she needs one.
My time to shine. Taking the time I can on this stage to connect with these empowered judges, selection committee. It's amazing. And then just connecting through the cameras, as silly as that sounds, to all of my amazing friends and family back home that couldn't be here. So thank you guys for watching.
So I think she meant to say connecting, but it came out connectioning. Well, she
says connectioning through the camera.
Connectioning.
And then she catches it and says, as silly as it may sound.
Yeah.
So she is sharp.
Yeah.
But they throw this in there out of the blue in the middle of the show. And
I love it.
That's to me should have been, that's where you start making your bets.
I like the connectioning. That's very good. I
think we should do some connectioning.
You know what I think? What I think is, why don't we have a bearded lady in the competition? We need to have at least one guy who's transitioning. Where's that?
Didn't they do that in Miss Universe last go round? We haven't had that in the United States shows.
Oh, I don't recall.
It'll probably happen. It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Some genderish person.
Like connectioning.
Should be connectioning.
Hey, baby, let's do some connectioning tonight. What do you say? Oh.
So that was that. And it was, this.
Well, I'm glad you did that. It always tickles me. I do like it. And it kind of helped us get into the Me Too, hashtag Me Too segment. Well, I guess we could open the segment properly, I guess, if we want to do that. Here we go.
And now it's time for your sexual harassment update.
Yes. 2 items for me today on the list. The biggest one, although not the way we perhaps expected it, you called hashtag Me Too in academia many moons ago. And now 200 tenured professors from the University of Southern California, your neck of the woods.
Ooh, SC, with all the babes are.
That's...
Have no, in fact, in the Pac-12.
Pac-12?
Yeah, the Pacific 12. It's the conference that the University of Southern California is in. Oh, University of Spoiled Children.
It's a sports,
I'm sorry, I didn't get that right.
Sports reference. Okay, got it. They've signed a letter. So 200 tenured professors from USC have signed a letter calling for the school's president to step down amid an unfolding scandal over how the university dealt with sexual misconduct allegations against a longtime student health center gynecologist. There it is once again.
The gynecologist.
The gyno.
What a job. The gynecologist at USC.
I'm just gonna leave that one there. Yes.
Well, I'm just saying.
USC has been reeling in recent days from a LA Times report detailing accusations that gynecologist George Tyndall
How come they don't have a female gynecologist at that school?
Good question. For decades, conducted improper pelvic exams on female students and made sexually and racially inappropriate comments. Can't this go all the way to Lucy? To Janet Napolitano? Isn't she the head honcho of the whole kit and caboodle?
No, she's at the University of California. It's a completely different system.
Oh, okay. Is it Pac-12, though?
Yeah. Well, the University of California system has two of its major schools in the Pac-12. The rest of them are not.
I'm sorry I asked. But how about that, huh? 200 professors. And this has been going on for decades with this douche. It's just like the sports
it's like the
girls.
guy from University of Michigan State.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's these schools.
Oh, my goodness. And then, of course, we have Con taking place, or it maybe just took place. I don't follow that too closely. An Italian actress.
That's funny.
Yeah. Italian actress Asia Argento got up on stage, and here was what she said.
I have a few words to say. In 1997, I was raped by Harvey Weinstein here at Cannes. I was 21 years old. This festival was his hunting ground. I want to make a prediction. Harvey Weinstein will never be welcomed here ever again. He will live in disgrace, shunned by a film community that once embraced him and covered up for his crimes. And even tonight, sitting among you, there are those who still have to be held accountable for their conduct against women, for a behavior that does not belong in this industry, does not belong in any industry or workplace. You know who you are, but most importantly, we know who you are. And we're not going to allow you to get away with it any longer.
A tepid applause.
I thought she was going to ask them to stand.
It's like, if you have raped anyone, could you stand up and show your presence here tonight? All right. But good. We got a room full of people.
Who is this?
Asia Argento.
European actress.
Italian.
Well, good for her.
Yeah, I think this is the best statement I've heard. I love saying, we know who you are, because there's more of you in this audience. Damn. Nice. Well done, Asia. Well done.
Yeah, good for her. There's a good right now out. Maybe it's not brand new, but it's still floating around. Is the front line about Harvey Weinstein? It's quite good.
Do you have a clip?
No, I don't have a clip. I wasn't thinking of clipping it. So it's a long 1 hour exposition. It's very difficult to clip from that show.
Okay. Do you have anything else for the segment, or can I close it out?
Looking at my list, I just have Trump stuff, which is
how odd.
Kind of funny.
I'm going to close it out then. Okay.
Wait. Yeah. Sorry.
And this concludes your sexual harassment update.
Let's find out who this woman is. This
Asia?
Book of Knowledge. Who is Asia Argento? Okay. That's working.
Works well.
Yeah, so far so good. What? Book of Knowledge. Wikipedia Asia Argento. Maybe she's not so known. I don't know.
Are you sure it's plugged in?
Yes.
Have you turned the switch? Have you toggled the handle?
Here it comes. She just talked to us. She said it.
I didn't hear anything.
Asia Argento is an Italian actress, singer, model, activist,
hold on. Why are you
director.
talking over it? Did you not hear it?
Hear it?
Oh, you can't hear anything?
No, zip.
Well, that's odd. I see why. My mistake. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me turn that up. Book of Knowledge. Probably fucked it up already. The thing is, I wanted to really wow you with my incredible expertise of integrating the system, and it failed.
Yeah,
so
you wowed me.
Yeah, I'll try it one more time. Book of Knowledge. Wikipedia Asia Argento. Now, the thing is, it has to go out to Wikipedia.
Let me look up Asia Argento. I don't know what that means.
She had it earlier.
Asia Argento is an Italian actress, singer, model, activist, and director.
Well, there you go. I'm glad
that explains everything.
Hey, it does do height in case you're interested. So there's a plus to it all.
Okay, then ask how tall that woman was.
I don't think it probably won't have that, but I'll try.
You just said it did.
Book of Knowledge. How tall is Asia Argento? She's measuring her.
She must be.
No, I don't think she
5 feet 6 inches.
5 feet 6 inches. There you go. Okay. It's a little slow because it's home built. It's running on a Raspberry Pi.
This is your Raspberry Pi.
Yes, this is exactly what that is.
Man, is it slow.
Well, it's not going to Amazon and Google. It has to translate the speech on board, which is still pretty amazing for a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, well, now where'd you get the voice from?
The voice is from an open source system called Mimic. And
can you have her read a poem so we can listen to what she...
Well, no, how about important things like Book of Knowledge? Book of Knowledge. Send karma.
I don't understand.
Shut up.
You might have to say that a different way.
Book of Knowledge. Send karma. Oh, there we go.
You've got karma.
But we can do other important things, such as Book of Knowledge. Read pre-show checklist. Please work.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Please clap.
Book of Knowledge. Read my pre-show checklist.
I don't understand, but I'm learning new things every day.
Google and Apple, Siri, you guys, hey,
you're
nothing
winning.
to worry about.
You're winning.
Nothing to worry about.
Book of Knowledge. Read the Trump rotation list. I got to make this thing faster, that's for sure.
List Trump rotation has 4 tasks on it. Orange Cheeto. Orange Clown. Cheater. Broke.
Okay, and you can add to it too. So if it goes a little faster, it would be okay, I think.
Yeah, well, I think you should keep working on that and roll it out.
Roll it out to podcasts everywhere. Get some VC funding. No, I'm starting a Patreon. What are you talking about?
Patreon.
The idea is there. I'm working on it. But, it could be handy for things like, when Dwayne Melanson comes in and I haven't seen it, I could just ask her to play his jingle. And I wouldn't have to go.
And we could wait about the same amount of time.
No, well, that'll get better. That'll get faster. You just don't like modern technology.
I don't, actually.
I know.
Right.
I know you
it's
don't.
Like the Nest.
The idea is eventually
I'm not pulling modern technology out of the house.
Eventually, I'll just be able to do the show with her. That's my dream.
So there was some guy on the BBC that came on, and he was an investigative reporter, and he comes on the show, and so his name's Pete or something. I can't remember his full name, but I think it's Peter. He had this crazy theory that he says is completely it does make some sense. He says that Cohen, the crazy lawyer, was all the money, a lot of the money that showed up in his pockets was none of it was from Russia. In fact, most of the action going on is not has anything to do with Russia. It has to do with the Ukraine. And he says the Ukrainians are the ones who leaked all the Manafort stuff because they knew about it. Nobody else did, because they were betting on Hillary. So,
just before we do that, they were also complicit in the DNC server hack cover up, because the CrowdStrike guys are Ukrainian. And
right,
they
you mentioned this in the last show.
Yeah, pinned it on the Russians. Absolutely.
Well, here's a little more, because that triggered me to start listening for Ukrainian stuff, that what you brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And so listen to this.
Michael Cohen already stands accused of taking money from U.S. companies to get access to the White House. When those stories broke, apparently it was Mr. Cohen's bank records obtained by a lawyer for a porn actress, Stormy Daniels. Here we are down the usual Trump story rabbit holes already. It was then said there were some foreign interests involved. At the same time, I was doing my own reporting in Kiev, talking to senior sources there, people who said they had direct knowledge of the matter, and they said the foreign government in question was Ukraine's. There were cutouts. It wasn't done directly by the government of Ukraine, but my sources told me payment was effected by the Ukrainian president to Michael Cohen to make sure that President Poroshenko of Ukraine got more than a humiliatingly short photo op in the White House. He got something he could call talks.
What's been the state of relations between Ukraine and the US since all this was said to have happened?
Well, it's been an interesting arc. During the election campaign, the Ukrainian government, I think, along with a lot of people, thought that Hillary Clinton would win. Donald Trump wouldn't be the victor there. And the Ukrainians were particularly worried by what they saw as the pro-Russian tone of Mr. Trump's remarks. So, according to my sources anyway, they intervened. They leaked material harmful to Paul Manafort, Trump's campaign manager. Mr. Manafort had to resign. If that's what happened, it was a disastrous miscalculation, and that led to this scramble, apparently, to get a proper sit-down with Mr. Trump. I have to say, the Ukrainian presidency, while initially refusing to comment on this, has now responded to a local journalist calling this a blatant lie. Mr. Cohen himself denies it. And we should stress here, there's no suggestion Mr. Trump knew of this arrangement or took any money from this arrangement.
Paul Wood, thanks very much indeed for joining me.
The plot thickens.
That's what I'm thinking. The plot thickens.
Well, the plot thickens for sure with the Spygate stuff. That's been fantastic to hear all these different people and their stories.
I have the whole series of Spygate clips.
Me too.
That conclude. Good. We can go do a clip off. As they said at the Briff. Sorry.
Yeah, the joke was good, but stumbled on the punchline. Bad delivery.
You got to pull a string.
You got to do it.
Okay, so I have the long version, the full Monty of the thing that was done. I think it was on ABC or NBC, which should be
FBI Spygate.
FBI Spygate NBC. This will be the one we start with.
Background.
To the White House now, where President Trump today summoned top Justice Department, FBI, and intelligence officials. The president demanding an investigation into whether his campaign was infiltrated for political purposes after reports that an FBI informant spoke to a number of Trump campaign members. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Hallie Jackson has the story.
Spotted late today, the Deputy Attorney General walking into the West Wing, his agency, battling with his boss. The president hereby demanding Rod Rosenstein find out whether or not the FBI or Department of Justice infiltrated or surveilled the Trump campaign for political purposes in 2016.
I think it would be very troubling to millions of Americans if that took place.
Democrats say not so fast.
The president's claim that there was a political spy embedded in his campaign is nonsense. And the country needs to know that this is nonsense.
Rosenstein under orders to do something, finding a middle ground, expanding an existing internal review, but not starting a new one altogether. The White House now reiterating what the DOJ confirmed yesterday, that it will ask the Inspector General to look into any irregularities in tactics concerning the Trump campaign. Rosenstein, who oversees the special counsel investigation, publicly silent on that today, but poking fun at what's become a very visible role.
Deputy Attorneys General are very low profile, tend not to be recognized.
An FBI informant did speak with several members of the Trump campaign in 2016, according to a New York Times report. But experts argue it would have been standard procedure to talk to people during what was, at the time, the FBI investigation into Russian interference.
There's nothing wrong with this. In fact, it's really the least intrusive means that the FBI could have used.
Now, the president furious and fixated, according to sources familiar with his thinking.
Rod Rosenstein is in the most difficult position probably of anybody in the history of the Department of Justice. He's trying to thread the needle between a president who's pressuring him against protecting an institution, the Department of Justice and the FBI.
Any collusion?
Now, just to frame this, what everyone is talking about, and what I'm sure we're talking about, is two dimensions. One dimension sees this as spying. The other dimension sees it as protection.
Well, before you go into with that analysis, I do want to make some comments on this last clip.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the guy who says this is nonsense is dimension B. That was Schiff.
Mm-hmm.
We have a clip from Direct.
Yep.
And then they've tricked. Halley's gotten some new idea, new journalistic concept. It's at the very end. Instead of saying, what they do is people familiar with the
sources familiar with
the matter.
Yeah, with the matter.
Right?
Yes, which I think leads into the fact of the matter.
Sources familiar with the matter. They used to say that.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, there was nobody familiar with the matter because she says Donald Trump is now fixated.
Yes.
Say sources
familiar with the matter.
No.
Oh, what did she say?
Sources familiar with his thinking.
Wow, that could be anybody.
Yeah, that could be me.
Oh, that's a great catch, John. Hold on,
Sources
I actually
familiar with his thing. This is going off the journalistic rails.
I'd like to hear that again. Let me see if I can find it here in the clip.
It's about 2/3 the way through.
Today summoned top Justice Department, FBI, and intelligence officials.
I'm trying to get there. For some reason, it's not. Why can't I fast forward the clip? Oh, here we go.
FBI investigation into Russian interference.
There's nothing wrong.
Speak with several members of the Trump campaign in 2016, according to a New York Times report. But experts argue it would have been standard procedure to talk to people during what was, at the time, the FBI investigation into Russian interference.
There's nothing wrong with this. In fact, it's really the least intrusive means that the FBI could have used.
Now, the president furious and fixated, according to sources familiar with his thinking.
You're so right. Oh, my God. Nailed it. Oh, I'm going to give you clip of the day.
Clip of the day.
Holy crap.
So now they don't even know what he's actually up to. But you got people, what did he have the psychic hotline? Have them with
any collusion?
The Jamaican woman.
Hey, and did they also have protection on the Clinton side, seeing as they were trying to hack her emails? Did they have spies over there talking to her campaign? If they were protecting, I mean, it seems like she needed some protection for her. I mean, she was being robbed of her personal data. Did they have spies over there? Has anyone asked that question?
Not yet. Not that I haven't asked it. Nobody's asked it. I can tell they're psychic. They're familiar with his thinking. They're trying to get into his brain from distance.
That's very good. Sally Yates, who initially, she was kicked out during right after the transition. You remember she was serving as Attorney General. She was deputy. She was deputy. But she was serving as Attorney General.
Yeah, and she was kicked out because she wouldn't
enforce the
immigration law
ban. It wasn't a law. It was a ban. Muslim ban, bruh. Here's her thoughts on Morning Joe's.
I think what we're seeing here is the president has just taken his...
It's not about who cares, John. If it's who cares, we can just shut the show down now. I mean, this is just showing you what's going on.
I'm taking it from the journalist. Why would you put her on a show? She's out of
She's office. A hero because she's a hero because she stood up to the orange Cheeto.
I think what we're seeing here is the president has just taken his all-out assault on the rule of law to a new level. And This time, he is ordering up an investigation of the investigators who are examining his own campaign. You know, that's really shocking. Rod Rosenstein is trying to strike a balance here between diffusing this situation, but also protecting the rule of law and the institutional integrity of the department.
Now, I can see this both ways. I can truly see where people would be like, hey, man, it's normal that the Russians were out there. We had to make sure that they weren't infiltrating. They weren't getting through. I mean, I can see where that's a completely believable, viable story for a lot of people. Like, I can see it.
That is the litany for the Dimension A folk.
B.
A.
B.
No.
People who think...
Oh, B. But you're right.
Okay.
You caught me. I did that to you about a month ago.
I do it all the time. So then we have, just to bot back and forth, we have this Michael Caputo guy. And now what is he? What is his... I know he was...
love his name.
Let's try it. Book of Knowledge?
God.
Who is Michael Caputo?
The show will be running over, ladies and gentlemen.
If she says anything like, I don't know what that is, then I'm sure that's failing. Okay, so he's some guy. I'm not quite sure what his deal is.
Look him up.
Caputo is an American football safety who is currently a free agent.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's a free agent. Guy.
It's a free agent.
Free agent.
Anyway, I think he's probably another lawyer guy or something. He was a consultant to the campaign.
I'm looking him up
and
now.
Here's what they did to him.
I mean, what's remarkable here to my approach is that it happened in the first week of May in 2016, very far off the timeline that the Mueller investigation.
Stop a second. I can tell you who this guy is. This is the guy we had the clip of. He was either the last show or the show before, where he goes on and says, I won't work for anybody anymore. He's a Republican.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
Because it was ruined my life, and it's costing me $100,000 every time I come to Washington to testify.
So what's interesting about his story, is the timeline puts his contact with a different spy much earlier than anything that I've heard about. He puts his contact back to May. It's very interesting.
I mean, what's remarkable here to my approach is that it happened in the first week of May in 2016, very far off the timeline that the Mueller investigation and others are trying to hold to as to when the investigation into the Trump campaign actually began.
So when you say May of 2016, what happened? The discovery of someone penetrating the campaign, or what?
Actually, I was approached by an intermediary who had been talking to a government official, a former government official, who told him that they had Hillary Clinton-related emails at that government organization, and that they wanted to get them to the Trump campaign. This was May 6th that he heard that in 2016. I was told by the intermediary on May 9th that they wanted to get them to me. This conversation continued back and forth for several days. I was in Trump Tower at the time. Whenever I got a call from the intermediary, I would walk outside of the office. I spent a lot of time in the hallway outside of the 5th floor office talking to this intermediary.
So that kind of fits what I was theorizing on the previous episode, is that it was really about, they were honeypotting the stolen emails with this guy, clearly. I think they really believed that somehow Trump had that, and if not, they were going to get it to him, or they were going to nail him down and have someone ask for them and have some proof. So that was your second spy in May, which is not really being discussed. And he says he can't discuss it. You know, his lawyers won't let him because that name isn't known. Just like it took a reasonably long time for the M5M to come up with Stefan Halper. And
yeah, it did. It took a while. And here's what bothers me about the whole thing, Dimension A or Dimension B, is that the one side is denying it. In fact, Adam Schiff says it was nonsense.
Yeah.
Yet on PBS, Adam Schiff, and I got the clip here on the FBI spy, Adam Schiff goes on to say, he said there's no spy, this was nonsense, but he intermixes. He's when you listen to him, it's very hard to follow his logic. When you listen to him, what he says is that it would be bad to reveal his name because national security
sources and methods.
Sources and method, all this stuff. Wait a minute. If the guy doesn't exist and it's nonsense,
how can it be bad to reveal him?
How can it be bad to reveal it? Because now obviously the guy doesn't exist. But he does this and he buffaloes Judy.
Oh, no.
Who I believe is interviewing him. And she never questions this one basic tenet, which is if there was no spy, why would it be bad to tell us who he is?
Let me ask you about this controversy involving the FBI.
That's not Judy.
Well, you said Schiff on the FBI, and that's what I grabbed. I'm sorry.
Schiff on the FBI. Okay. I'm sorry. He's not buffaloing Judy in this case. He's buffaloing the Face the Nation guy, Todd.
Chip.
No, Chip's the other guy. That's Dick Gregory.
Let me ask you about this controversy involving the FBI informant. This is something that your Republican counterpart in the House Intelligence Committee, he wants the Department of Justice to release more information about this informant. We now know who that person is. When did you become aware of this FBI informant?
I don't want to characterize what this individual may or may not be, but I do want to say the Justice Department, the FBI, even the White House, although clearly not the president, has said that revealing information about this individual could compromise people's lives. It could betray a relationship with our allies. It could compromise the investigation. And the president's response, and Chairman Nunes, Jordan, and Gowdy, and others, is bring it on. We don't care. Whatever is in the service of the president, we're willing to do. This is a dramatic and new and destructive low, I think, for the Congress of the United States, basically to ignore the warnings of the FBI and Justice Department and potentially risk people's lives. What they would like this information for is clearly to be of service to the Trump defense team and further any narrative they have. The most I can tell you, Chuck, is that this claim by the president, the suggestion by Giuliani that there is a political spy embedded in the Trump campaign is nonsense. And you hear it in the same terms that Trump often speaks, which is people are saying, or I'm hearing, or we're being told. That's another way of saying this is patently untrue, but we would like to spread it anyway. And it's singularly destructive of our institutions, but then that's the point.
All right, but in fairness to the president and his supporters, they look at the history of this informant. They see that he was involved in political campaigns and possibly even political espionage in 1980, and they think, why shouldn't they be suspicious of this?
Well, again, I can't comment on the identity of any individual or source, but I can say this. This is part of a string of meritless allegations from the very beginning that I was wiretapped in Trump Tower. There's a vast unmasking conspiracy. The investigation began with the Christopher Steele dossier, all of which was untrue.
That's correct, because it started much earlier than the Christopher Steele dossier. Wow.
I mean, this guy, I can't believe this guy gets away with this. Why do they keep talking to him? I mean, he is a liar.
Yeah. Well, Halper is MIA. He's in hiding. And if you want to know how long the Washington Post, WAPO, knew about his identity and his background, well, it was quite a while, according to this WAPO journalist who was interviewed on NPR.
The Washington Post held back institutionally last week when we first reported on a secret FBI source. But as other news organizations in recent days published his name, the Post decided to publish the name Stefan Halper.
We should note NPR has made contact with Stefan Halper, and he declined to comment on all of this. The University of Cambridge website lists him as an emeritus senior fellow of the Center of International Studies. I understand you actually took a class with him at Cambridge.
He was my professor at Cambridge. I studied under Professor Halper in 2008 and 2009. He was a friend and a professor, an American working at Cambridge, and as an American student there myself, studying American politics and British politics. He was someone I sought out, had dinner with him and his wife on many occasions. He's a gregarious academic, someone who enjoys writing and debating, and he always seemed highly connected to both me and people he came in touch with at Cambridge, someone who knew so many American presidents, had worked for them in the White House going back to the Nixon administration.
So how does somebody like this, with one foot in academia, another foot in Republican policy, government circles, become an FBI informant?
If you look at Stefan Halper's career, he has been an academic, to be sure, for the last 2 decades or so, but he has also been closely working with the federal government. He's been contracted by the Department of Defense since 2012, made over $1 million in different kinds of contract fees for research in the social sciences.
Bro, this podcasting gig sucks compared to that. $1 million bucks?
Yeah. But if you look back at his career, he also took notes on campaigns for the White House in the 1970s, working for the chief of staff for President Gerald Ford. He's someone who has always been a political analyst, and he's had ties to the intelligence community. His first wife, her father, was Ray Klein, a longtime prominent CIA analyst.
The FBI urged reporters not to reveal his name. Now that his name is public, do you know where he is, whether he's in danger?
We know that he has maintained residences in the UK and in Virginia for years, but we have not been able to see him in person. He did decline via email to comment. Hopefully he is safe. He is someone I know. At the same time, these are delicate, tough stories. We held back on the name, but the name was out there everywhere in recent days. So institutionally, the Post decided to move forward, as have others.
Spot the spook. Spot the spook. Everybody wants to spot the spook.
Yeah. I love we held back institutionally. What the hell does that mean?
This is the news media serving the public.
We held back institutionally. Baby, I'm holding back institutionally.
Yeah, you give the guy's name. All hell's going to break loose. And they're gonna, who's they? Who's they that's going to kill him? You know, where's the danger? What?
Trump? Trump?
Hey, it's possible.
By the way, did you see any news about the shooting at Trump's golf club?
I have the clip, but before we go,
we'll do that later. Okay, we'll do that later. Yes.
Yes, so I did. Yes, I did.
Okay.
I agree with you. In fact, the clip is named "Unpublicized Doral Shooting."
Well, let's do it.
I thought it was peculiar why they covered it up.
Let's do it real quick then.
The dramatic.
Wait a minute. You know what? I'm actually going to play because I don't have a clip. I have the audio of the body cam. Listen to this. And, well, just listen to it. I have an observation, then we'll do your clip.
Active shooter.
What is are these guys just shooting around? This doesn't sound like the cops I used to know. They just shoot.
These guys are just gung-ho shooters.
Woo. Just anywhere, just boof, boof, boof.
I think they're shooting up the Doral.
Hey, finally, we got a chance.
The dramatic shootout between police and an intruder at the Trump National Doral Hotel in Miami. A firefight captured on police body cam. Fire alarms blaring as bullets fly, round after round. The damage
it sounds like Reds, the shooting range here. It's just crazy.
Visible all over the hotel.
And how come I'm not hearing? Isn't that the appropriate way if you have someone in your sights? Is they're just like shoot over here. Maybe it was the other guy shooting, but on the body cam, it sounded a lot like. It
wouldn't have been as loud. I mean, it's going to be loud on the body cam. Those guys shooting. It wasn't the other guy.
Yeah.
The damage visible all over the hotel's luxurious lobby as the video shows officers carefully climbing the stairs, where suspected gunman 42-year-old Jonathan Oddie was arrested. Police say he scaled a fence at the hotel owned by the president, stole an American flag, and began screaming rhetoric against President Trump and former President Obama. Suffering gunshot wounds to the leg, Oddie survived and now faces multiple felonies, including first-degree attempted murder of a police officer.
Phew.
Did you see this guy?
No, didn't. What did he look like?
First, they show him being arrested, then they show him in the court, and I've seen and they show his mugshot. He has a expressionless face that's exactly the same every time. It's like bug. He's kind of looking straight ahead. He's worse than that kid in Colorado. Mouth kind of open, kind of a pudgy face. It was like the guy is not even human.
Do you think he was on Ritalin?
He's too old.
No, I think that you're never... John, hello? Oh, we got a call from the control room.
please remind John you're never too old for Ritalin.
The guy something's weird about this story, and they're suppressing it for some reason. Yes. I'm not sure why. And Obama's also targeted.
I'd like to know. I'd like to. What do you mean Obama's also targeted?
He says he was yelling about Obama and Trump.
I'd like to know. It's odd that we're not hearing more about this.
I don't know. It could be. I don't know. It's just wild. So let's get back to finish up with.
Well, I'll tell you what. But here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to take a break, get into the B block. Then I want to talk about Clapper because I think we both have an abundance of fun stuff to talk about with him. How's that sound?
I don't want to talk about Clapper except in this regard. I have 2 clips left for the Spygate thing, and really they're designed to be.
Let's do it.
Rolled out. One of them has Clapper in it. Because Clapper did a 10-minute interview. I only clipped 2 clips from it because I found Clapper to be annoying.
On The View.
I did. Oh, you got that?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, no, I got the 10-minute Judy Woodruff interview.
Oh, you got a bum deal.
Oh, I can imagine. But but this has to do with Spygate.
Yeah. So does my clip.
Yeah, but listen to this. So Judy's got him on the Spygate thing, and he's also kind of was shift that there was no spy. And he has a completely different reason why there was no spy, and it's unbelievably stupid.
Is this the on Spygate?
Yeah.
President Trump said this morning, and this is regarding allegations that the FBI used an informant during the 2016 campaign. He said, I hope it's not so, but if it is, there's never been anything like it in the history of our country. He went on to say, if you look at Clapper, he sort of admitted that they had spies in the campaign inadvertently. I hope it's not true, but it looks like it is.
Well, I think he's kind of distorted what I was trying to say, which was actually took aversion to the term spy, which I don't like anyway, but particularly it's inappropriate in this context. Far big gulf between a spy in the traditional sense, employing spycraft or tradecraft, and an informant who was open about who he was and what and the questions he was asking. The intent, though, is the important thing. It was not to spy on the campaign, but rather to determine what the Russians were up to. Were they trying to penetrate the campaign, gain access, gain leverage, gain influence? And that was the concern that the FBI had. And I think they were just doing their job and trying to protect our political system.
I got to tell you, it just hit me. This is how it works. So let's just presume there's a couple of dudes in charge of the media. And like, okay, we got a shitstorm going down. We're going to send Clapper out. We're going to have him explain the difference between spying and just protecting. And we've got to set people's mindsets right. So release the Yanni Laurel clip.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
I mean, this Clapper goes, he said, you're not a spy unless you're using tradecraft. That's what he says.
Tradecraft.
So in other words, if you go in and spy on somebody, but unless you got a Minox camera and you're taking little bitty pictures and you're putting things on, on microfiche.
An a recorder, reel to reel.
Yeah, using all those things, you're not a spy. You're something else.
You're LARPing. You're LARPer,
so
dude.
The guy is an idiot. Now let's play this last thing.
Spycraft services.
Spycraft. So meanwhile, let's go to the Trump campaign spy final. This is my last clip, and this is from Judicial Watch, where I think I'm in more agreement with what these guys are going to say than anything else we've played.
Were made by people within the administration. Let's start with the notion of an informant. There is a difference between a spy who's been put into the Trump campaign by the DOJ or the FBI or what have you, versus an informant. An informant would be someone who has a friendly face, if you will, to the campaign, who's just trying to glean information from members of the campaign.
It's a distinction without a difference, frankly. Look, these are, or in this case, the source, let's just call them, was a recruited asset of a law enforcement agency, in this case the FBI, seeking to collect information. And you can call them an informant, you can call them a spy, you can call them a source, but it's all the same thing, frankly. You had a person recruited for a task, targeting an organization for information that they were going to report back to law enforcement. And so there's all sorts of semantic games that can be played. But what you had was the full force and power of the FBI leveraged against a political campaign. And that is an outrageous abuse of law enforcement powers, the likes of which we've never seen.
Yes. And by the way, according to Axios, which is a fine Dimension B, NBC, Lauren Jobs-owned outfit, report their exclusive that Peter Navarro pushed Stefan Halper for a job within the Trump campaign. So something was going on beyond that. But it's absolutely true. It's like, I know what spies are. My family's filled with them. They're civilians civilians. And they're everywhere. And then you've got spies who provide front companies and covers for other informants and spies. This is total horseshit semantics.
Yeah, and we're dealing with
extreme level. Yes,
semantics bullcrap. So they're trying to obfuscate it by making a smoke screens. I mean, Schiff and Clapper are two good examples. They're just speaking nonsense.
And the mainstream media is all in, and it was fantastic to see James Clapper show up on The View. Of course he's promoting his book. He knows where to sell a book. Everybody's got it. I don't know how he has time. This guy should be protecting our country. He has time to write books.
He didn't write it.
You'll think. So he's on The View with Whoopi and the gang, and I'd like to play a few choice clips, which I have selected for us.
The FBI started to look into Trump's ties to Russia in the summer of 2016, and Trump tweeted that this spying that he claims is spying. Other people say it's a whistleblower or an informant. He says
a whistleblower. That's even better. Get him under whistleblower protection. That's great.
Spying is bigger than Watergate. So I ask you, was the FBI spying on Trump's campaign?
No, they were not. They were spying on a term I don't particularly like.
Did you just hear what he said? He said they were spying on... See, what he did in the PBS interview was correct. He said, well, you call it spying, but it's really, it's not spying. And here he answers right off the cuff. Yes, he blows it right at the opening.
He says the truth. He says they were spying.
No, they were not. They were spying on a term I don't particularly like, but on what the Russians were doing, trying to understand, were the Russians infiltrating, trying to gain access, trying to gain leverage and influence.
So why doesn't
which
he
is
like
what they do?
So why doesn't he like that? He should be happy that.
Well, he should be.
Right.
I mean, Russia, and this is one of the reasons I wrote my book, was the threat that Russia poses, because they are bent on undermining our system. And that's what they did and had a lot of success during the course of the election.
They are bent. They are bent. What does bent mean? They are bent on infiltrating our system.
Well, that's a colloquialism, I believe, but and the way it's used,
hellbent.
Yes, that's where it stems from.
Yeah.
And where does hellbent come from? We have to do a little research on that.
Okay, I'm
hellbent.
I'm not going to ask the Book of Knowledge anymore. I'm too afraid. Please don't. I'll ask her to get me a cab at the end of the show, though. Anyway,
hellbent is determined to achieve something at all costs. All costs.
All right. Then Sonny jumps in. Now, as you know, she was an assistant district attorney.
Oh.
And she likes saying that all the time. And she doesn't like the word spying either.
I don't like the term spy either. I was with the Department of Justice as an AUSA, and I think surveil is...
No, she was a state attorney. AUSA. Okay, attorney. Yeah.
I don't like the term spy either. I was with the Department of Justice as an AUSA, and I think surveil is perhaps the more important word. What about this notion that there was a CI, a confidential informant, embedded in the campaign? Is that true?
Well, as we've seen, unfortunately, the identity of this...
Sorry?
Well, Clapper wasn't involved at that level. He wouldn't know it. He doesn't know anything.
He's the director of national intelligence at the time. So, of course, you've pointed this out to me. Of course he would know. Of course he was in the loop. Oh, yeah. But I like this. We prefer to call it surveillance, and we like to call it CI instead of a spy.
as we've seen, unfortunately, the identity of this informant is now out in the media. And if this is a fairly benign tool available to the FBI, given all the other capabilities available to them.
Can you stop for a second?
And what is
the guy does have a name. Everybody knows what his name is.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that you can kind of spot the spook by the people who won't say his name.
Okay.
Because I think that his name is classified, and as you know, and I've heard this from my economic hitman, if you're in any of these agencies, you can't even go on a computer. You can't look at WikiLeaks.
Right.
You can't look at WikiLeaks. You can't do this. You can't
but also,
do that
if he is indeed CI, if he's classified, then just saying his name would be breach of classification, and you could go to jail.
CI would be, of course, means confidential informant.
Yeah.
But his name, he is apparently the way this is, and I think Chuck Todd, by the way, is suspect because when he talked about the guy, he refused to say his name too. So the people that won't say his name are, I say, as in a spot the spook methodology, they would be spooks.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
all right. Yeah, we'll continue.
But Clapper goes. These people go out of their way not to say his name, even though his name's in the public domain.
Capabilities available to them, and what has been described that he did was pretty mild. The FBI, particularly,
I love it. It was pretty mild. Come on, it was just mild spying.
I thought there was no guy. Now, boy, what he did is mild.
Mild spying.
Make up your mind. Was there a guy or no guy?
Was pretty mild. The FBI, particularly, uses informants all the time for law enforcement purposes.
And it's
a
legal.
Very valuable source of information.
And it's legal.
The FBI has very strict rules and protocols on their usage.
Oh, yes.
And what's bad about this is revelations about this individual. So other informants for the FBI who provide valuable information that keep this nation safe and secure begin to wonder, well, is my identity going to be protected? And what about potential informants who might want to help with the FBI, and what's the impact on them? It's pretty chilling.
Oh, it's so chilling because now no one wants to be.
By the way, chilling is a left-wing liberal code word.
Yes, it is.
I've said this before on the show a number of years ago.
But I'm chilled to the bone. If they ask me to be an informant, why would I do that? You're just going to out me. It's just dangerous.
Well, they didn't out him. That's the point of the thing is people have their covers blown.
Yes.
Which is what this guy did.
Now, Clapper has been a long-standing problem with the truth. We saw him back in the day in Congress saying, no, we didn't lie. We didn't spy on anybody. And this luckily came up in the View combo.
You know, the president tweeted about you, quote, Clapper is a lying machine who now works for fake news. So a lot of people I know, first of all, what was your reaction to that when you first saw that?
Well, the president's calling me a lying machine. Well, okay.
Good line.
What that stems from is an exchange I had with Senator Wyden 5 years ago in March of 2013.
Now, let's listen very closely to how he explains what happens.
About a surveillance program, and he was asking me about one, and I was thinking about another. So I made a mistake, but I didn't lie, so that's what occasioned...
So what you're referencing, though, is that when you said, when you were talking about James Snowden blowing the whistle on the NSA illegally...
James Snowden must be Edward's brother.
...spying, and in 2013, when you were asked about it, you said no. So that is a lie. And
it isn't a lie. I'm sorry, it isn't a lie. I was thinking about something else. Another program. I can get at all the technical details about.
Please
he
do.
was asking about the metadata program, and the euphemistic way he asked about it, I didn't break the code. I was thinking of another.
Euphemistic. I didn't break the code. He says.
Wait, it was euphemistic, so he didn't break the code. Wow, this is great. I got to remember that one.
The way he asked about it, I didn't break the code. I was thinking of another program that we just gotten renewed, Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. And by the way, had I been on the same page with him and understood what he was asking me, I'd have still been in a bad place because at the time that program was classified. And just on the face of it, I've been trotting up the hill testifying for 20 or 25 years, dozens of hearings, hundreds of questions, and always tried to answer them straight. But gee.
Hold on a second. stop. He says he always tries. He always tries. Wait a minute. Either you answer them or you don't. You don't try. I always try to be honest.
I try to be honest. I'm doing my best. Can't you see I'm trying? I'm trying hard here.
Dozens of hearings, hundreds of questions, and always tried to answer them straight. But just for a change of pace, I think I'll lie on this one question. And by the way, do it on live television in front of one of my oversight committees.
Oh, well, I'm convinced now. Of course, you would never do. What's the point of lying if you're not lying to the people who want to hear the truth?
Really?
Well,
no.
So I made a mistake. At this point, sir.
Yay! No liar!
Average of 9 times a day now.
Let's go back. Well, hold on. Let's go back and listen to the exchange for a moment. Then we can discuss.
I thank you. And just for you, Director Clapper, again on the surveillance front. And I hope we can do this in just a yes or no answer, because I know Senator Feinstein wants to move on. Last summer, the NSA director was at a conference, and he was asked a question about the NSA surveillance of Americans. He replied, and I quote here, "The story that we have millions or hundreds of millions of dossiers on people is completely false." The reason I'm asking the question is, having served on the committee now for a dozen years, I don't really know what a dossier is in this context. So what I wanted to see is if you could give me a yes or no answer to the question, does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.
Seems pretty clear to me.
Where's all this discussion of the meta?
Nothing.
Where was the code? What was he talking about?
He couldn't decode it. It was such a complicated question. Let's just review the question one more time, which he could not decode. Oh, crap.
I think you could give me a yes or no answer to the question, does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
Well, that seems pretty clear. Any data at all. Any data. Metadata, mini data, megadata.
Doesn't matter.
Micro data.
Phone numbers.
Yes, of course they do. So he's a liar. He's doubling down on the lie. Last clip. About Le Dossier.
We live kind of in a dangerous time where, depending on which side of an issue you're coming at, you think of people as either whistleblowers or leakers.
Exactly.
So when we talk about the Steele dossier, for example, which was an unsubstantiated document with salacious claims about Trump.
I love how they read everything on The View.
James Comey briefed the president on that dossier, and then it got out to the media. You have said that you did not leak that. Do you have theories on this? And is that okay? Because where we fall, we might see this as good because it was a whistleblower or bad because it was a leak.
Well, first of all, the dossier is not classified, not an intelligence document. So.
Except they paid for it. Didn't they pay for it? Didn't the FBI pay for some of it?
The FBI contributed some money somehow, some way. We don't know why
not classified. No, it wasn't classified. Wasn't classified.
There's nothing secret about it.
Nothing secret.
Two points I need to make.
Please.
One, we did not use it as a source for our intelligence community assessment. I felt, in the no good deed goes unpunished department, that the president-elect at least needed to know it was out there. And that was the whole point of the briefing. At one point, Jim and I were both going to do it, and at the last moment, and at the last moment, he said, "I think it'd be better if I do it alone." And of course, I was fine with that, and so he stayed after the broader briefing to tell him that. So the point was to warn him, and we didn't draw on it for our official assessment, and because we couldn't validate the second, third order assets or collection sources, informants that were used in the dossier.
So the dossier is not necessarily a leak.
No,
it's not classified. It's not classified.
If I hand it a newspaper, am I leaking the newspaper too?
Not in my mind.
Well, not in mine either.
Okay, fine. All right. Well, the world is good. Clapper's not a liar. There was no spying. Shut up, everybody. Just keep on moving. Just keep on moving.
I have my last Clapper clip. which is the one that had Judy. This was Judy's interview with him, which is 10 minutes long, and I took 2 clips. Dropped her jaw when he said this, because he's decided to up the ante on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Clapper now. He says that because, as you recall, when they were talking about the phony Russian bullcrap because of their $100,000 huge spend on Facebook, they would say, well, the Russians are trying to interfere with the election, but they had no impact. And everybody would say that. We had clip after clip, everyone always throwing in the disclaimer, well, they didn't affect the election. They were trying. Here's what he says now.
When we did our formal intelligence community assessment in January of 2017, we did not make any call at all about whether the Russians affected the outcome of the election. We didn't have the authority, charter, or capability to do that. Since I left the government, though, as a private citizen, it's what I would call my informed opinion that, given the massive effort the Russians made and the number of citizens that they touched, and the variety and the multidimensional aspects of what they did to influence opinion and affect the election. And given the fact that it turned on less than 80,000 votes in 3 states, to me, it just exceeds logic and credulity that they didn't affect the election. And it's my belief they actually turned it.
That is a stunning. Conclusion, isn't it? I mean, and what does that say about where we are as we head into these midterm elections and the next election?
Well, one of the
Judy, we're all fucked.
Motivations for my speaking out and writing this book was to do my small part in trying to educate the public on what the Russians are up to. They are bent on undermining our fundamental system here.
Bent again?
They're bent.
What a
because
cluster.
the American public's so stupid.
Yeah, we need
this is a great insult to everybody, this Clapper guy.
Yeah.
He just comes out and insults. This is an insult to the public.
He was in charge of all of national security during this time. This is the guy. So if you think this is bad, what's underneath him?
And by the way, and by the way, if the Russians did all this stuff and they turned the election, you were the guy. You were the head of national intelligence at the time. It's your fault.
Yeah, you let him slip by. What are you doing, Edward Clapper?
You're living in disgrace.
No, he gets celebrated and has a book deal. America. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for Craft of Spies, Dvorak.
Well, in the morning, you the service to see boots on ground, feet in the air, subs to our dames and nights.
In the morning to the troll room. Hello, trolls. You always warm me up. NoAgendaStream.com is where you can join in the live shows. We do it on Thursdays and Sundays. At 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Adjust your clocks appropriately. And I want to say in the morning to Economic Hitman. He brought us the artwork for episode 1035. Title was Hundos. And it was simple, sweet, original. It was one of those, carry on type signs. And in this case, it was watch the royal wedding and don't shut up about it, which was true for the M5M and quite honestly a bit for us as well.
Not really.
We talked.
I think we talked a little bit about it because I think it was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, and the royals are so interesting.
Yes, they are.
How could we not talk about them?
This show has no problem taking on any topic since our advertisers cannot be targeted. Even though some have tried. We don't have any. That's why it always fails. And we have enough.
When we have them, the show won't be as good, but we'll be making a lot more money.
And
that's the way it works in this country.
It's in any country, I'm afraid.
Well, some countries are making it more hard.
Frankly,
our country makes it easy.
Frankly, there are many people who say that the No Agenda show and its model would not work in another country, and I disagree. I've heard this many times.
Well, Americans do have a sense of generosity, and
we're very charitable. Yes,
and they like to support things.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe it's debatable.
I hope I never have to find out.
No,
because that would mean two things. You're not there, and I'm not living here. So this could be a bad deal.
Should be a double whammy.
Let's thank our executive producers.
I want to thank a couple of executive producers and 4 associates. RJ Vanderbeege.
Bay. Remember, IJ is a Y in Holland.
IJ is a Y. Bay.
Yep.
RJ Vanderby. 350. No, and J and K, no name, no jingles, no karma.
Well, thank you very much. Dankjewel.
Chris Moore, Sir Nubbin of the 500. 309. Email sent later.
What was the 309 for? It must have been some significant number.
That's probably in the email, which I didn't know about. So let me look up Moore real quick with the squirrels.
Yeah, the squirrel mails.
R-E.
Doing it for you. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it right. I have nothing.
Low numbers. I got RJ's AR-15 stolen from the Tipton County Deputy's office.
No, I got a Todd Moore. No. Well, if you sent the email, send it again.
Chris Moore. Well, the problem that these guys have is they have it's the way email works. You don't put your name in the thing, it doesn't go through, and it's just some email address, which is Hopalong Cassidy or something. At Gmail.
Nice reference.
People do that.
Did Hopalong Cassidy actually ever have email is my question.
Well, he does now. Write him at gmail.com.
Thank you, Chris Moore. Send us the note again. I'd love to know what the 309 stands for.
We'll bring you in as soon as we can. But put Chris Moore in there or something. Sir Philip the Black, Baron of Oslo. I will look up something for the second half of the show with other tricks. Sir Philip the Black, Baron of Oslo, $250. He says, must lose you guys to apathy. The last few shows have been absolutely stellar.
I think he meant to say must not lose you guys to apathy.
I think this is one of those slips of the tongue.
Yeah. The truth always wants to come out.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, no.
He wants to lose us to apathy.
Get us, no.
Sir Philip the Black,
Baron of Oslo. Huh.
Another $250 comes from Chris Dillon, who says, in the morning, this donation puts me in the knighthood. I like to be known as Sir Gian.
Nice.
Surgeon.
All right.
Get it?
Yes, surgeon. Nice.
Surgeon. He's the surgeon. Thanks for the great show. Just need some karma.
You've got karma.
Sir Lucas Tahema.
But close. You got close.
T-E-Y. There you go. IJ.
Yeah, you got close.
Tahema. Yeah, I did. I'll hit it. Nail it. In Oostgeest.
Oostgeest. You don't do you ignore the first G. Oostgeest.
Why do you ignore? You always ignore the first G if there's two G's in the word?
We have lots. No, there's no rule. It's a tough language to learn.
Oostgeest.
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 Yeah.
Where's this?
Yeah.
Geest?
You nailed it.
Oh, jeez. Yearly voluntary contribution for the show. Keep up the good work, and then I will continue listening and contributing. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Don't hesitate to contact me before the show to prevent bullshit statements about the GDPR during the show.
That's right. Tomorrow, the general data protection rules go into effect, which is, I'm sure, why the Nest wanted to warn me no 13-year-olds may operate it.
I wrote a column about this thing.
The Nest? Oh, I missed it. Is it a new or old one?
Nest, the GDPR.
Oh, GDRP. The GDPR. GDPR. Yeah.
It's PR.
PR. And what did you say?
I said it sucks. It's bad.
Okay.
But I didn't send Tahema a note. I should have.
No. Yeah.
What does he know? He's in the Netherlands. Oh, that's right.
It's part of the EU where the GDPR goes into effect tomorrow.
And what it says, we're all screwed somehow. I'm going to actually have him. Lucas, read my column in PC Magazine. It should be out now or tomorrow. And tell me what you think.
Okay.
Tell me where I'm wrong.
Yes.
Sandra Langston, $200. 5923 would have taken me to Dame status this time, but I rounded the number up, so I also plan to shamelessly plug my show of artwork in Austin. I thought this already came and went.
Yeah.
The Davis Gallery, Sandra Langston, fabulous exhibition of breathtaking breadth, scope, and talent, blah, 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 up until June 7th. Did you say it was okay to shill a bit last time, John? And Adam, you didn't have anything better to do, do you? You don't have anything better to do, do you? Do you?
No,
do you?
No.
Then go see it. So please make me Dame Mello, pronounced Da Mello, Da Mello, with a soft A as an Italian give it to me until I can come up with something clever. This seems clever enough. I've so enjoyed the last few shows. You guys are blowing it up. Thanks. I'm hitting people in the mouth as fast as I can.
I'm glad we caught this because Eric had not put her on the list. She's on now.
Note that it is easier for the guys to be clever using sir because of the joke. And that note, see attached link, which is icky and somewhat funny for all us dames. And she has www, or it's just...
wearedame.co?
Yeah, wearedame.co.
Let's take a look. Let's see. Wearedame.co. Bleed red, think green. Meet D, the world's first reusable tampon applicator. Woo! Damn. And it's a Kickstarter. Oh, God. There's something to that. Women really do get screwed in the big deal of life, though, I'll tell you.
Well,
they lose their looks. Their private parts explode. They go, a lot of them do. Their ankles blow up. They're bleeding their whole life. Then they've got to poop out children.
Become cankles.
They're pooping out children, and then after all that, as a thank you, you get to almost ignite. You get with the hot flashes. You go up to 500 degrees. It's a raw deal. So
you still have to cook.
So I'm supporting this reusable tampon applicator. You still have to cook. Damn, snuck that one by me, Dvorak. Nice.
And that concludes our group of executive and associate executive producers, I believe.
All right.
Am I wrong? No, I'm not.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're not wrong. Well, thank you very much to these to this exclusive group, of which we have 2 new people to sit at the round table. One night, one dame. That is coming up later as we thank the rest of our supporters coming in at $50 and above. And please remember, we have another show coming up on Sunday.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And we've been dropping some knowledge on you, so you know what you need to do. Go out there and propagate it.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Order!
Shut up, slave!
Shut up, slave!
Just to kind of wrap up the this whole spying, not spying thing. Rob Reiner, you said you gave it to me, so I did clip it. We talked about it after the show.
Yes.
Rob Reiner, the meathead from All in the Family.
Meathead.
He is, of course, a celebrated and very famous movie director, also an actor and producer. And he basically is doing native ads for his movie, which you'll hear in this little clip. He even drops it in like, don't forget to talk about my movie, which is called Shock and Awe, and is about apparently there were some reporters who saw that the invasion of Iraq was a sham. Gee, who would have thunk? And that couldn't happen again. No. Here we go.
Well, I mean, this is breakneck speed for an investigation of this magnitude. We've never seen anything like this. We have a foreign power basically trying to undermine our democracy, and the possibility that the President of the United States is in a conspiracy with that foreign power. This has never happened before in this country, and you can see why the other side is putting out a full court press, because they know that what's coming down the pike conceivably is the biggest scandal in American history. And we are fighting right now for the soul of our democracy. And I want to say one thing about what's happening in terms of the media. We can get into shock and awe, which is all about the free press and the attack on the free press and how difficult it is to get the truth out. If you guys look at your specific ads that you have for your network, there are 2 ads that you run which basically focus on the importance of a free and independent media and a free press. You're under attack, the press is under attack, and right now, if you remove the ability to get the truth out, then you're going to have the destruction of democracy. We don't have any more, there's no checks and balances coming from the Congress. Right now, the courts are holding, but this is the first time in American history.
John, can you check on the courts? Could you do a quick check for me? Are they still holding?
Yeah, they're holding. They all want to go to the bathroom. They've been waiting and waiting, but they're holding.
Where you have a state-run television, Fox, Breitbart, Sinclair, and Alex Jones, aligned with the President of the United States. That's very, very tough. The battle lines have been drawn, and we're going to see whether or not democracy survives. The problem is that when you've got 40% of the country that is only tuned in to the lies, and they are cemented, it's going to be very hard for the truth to break through when all of the information comes out. You have to understand, this is a counterintelligence.
What is he trying to say? It's very hard to get the information out because what?
Because 40% of the people
watch Fox?
Occasionally watch Fox.
You know, this didn't work when Obama actually. It did work when Obama did it.
You've talked to somebody who said, well, I don't know, I was watching Fox News and they said this horrible. Good, affordable health care might seem like a fanged threat to the freedom of the American people on Fox News. Fox News, on a regular basis, it is a constant menu. They will find, like, folks who make me mad. Look, if I watched Fox News, I wouldn't vote for me. Look, if I watched Fox News, I wouldn't vote for me either. Right? Because, you've got this screen, this funhouse mirror through which people are receiving information.
It seems like, it wasn't a problem before. I mean, Obama was under the same M5M Fox News. Everybody watching Fox News.
Investigation. These things normally take years and years to unfold. We're seeing Bob Mueller work at breakneck speed. I mean, he's gotten, like you say, all these indictments and guilty pleas, and this is all within a period of a year. When you compare it to Benghazi, 4 years, the Clinton investigation that eventually wound up with an impeachment was 6 years. So this is 1 year, and you just laid it out, Nicole, with the volume of what's happened in a year. It's astounding. I do believe, and I go with your earlier guest, John Meacham, I have hope that democracy will survive. We've been tested before, but make no mistake about it, we are being tested right now as to whether or not 241 years of self-rule will emerge.
Oh, my God. The guy can tell a story though, can he? I love it. And of course they do him justice. He dropped it in there. Hey, if you want to talk about my movie later on, well, of course they do, Rob.
So Rob mentioned his new movie, Shock and Awe. It all ties in here. It chronicles the true story of journalists who were credited with getting it right in the lead up to the Iraq War, with reporting that questioned the nature of the Bush White House's justification for that war. Morning Joe now has the exclusive first look at the trailer. Let's take a look.
Yeah, they really went all out for him, didn't they? Yeah, man, we'll show your trailer and everything. Don't worry about it. It's all cool. It's just great to have you on. Good to have you in the fight, buddy. Good to have you there. He's not the only one bitching about the media. He has a friend. Ben Trump has a friend, an unlikely friend, who was very angry about the media.
And these are the kind of tweets that people will look at and they'll say, hey, this is a great idea if he ever actually creates some kind of a portal, if you will, where you can check out whether or not stories that are reported about Tesla are factual and accurate according to Elon Musk and Tesla. Here's what he tweeted out within the last 10 to 15 minutes, essentially saying, the problem is that journalists are under constant pressure to get max clicks and earn advertising dollars or get fired. Tricky situation, as Tesla doesn't advertise, but fossil fuel companies and gas/diesel car companies are among the world's biggest advertisers. Yeah. The implication of this one, and here's another one, going to create a site where the public can rate the core truth of any article and track the credibility score over time of each journalist, editor, and publication, thinking of calling it Pravda. And you guys know what Pravda is. That is linked with...
Now listen to this. First of all, did he say max clits? It was very weird. I couldn't hear what he said. said.
No, he didn't say that.
Yeah, he did, but then he corrected himself. But now listen to what this guy, I mean, the Pravda was a state-run newspaper in Russia. Still is, I believe. Or is it state-run?
I don't know that Pravda is anymore. I think it may have been spun off.
But we know what it is, but this Jamoke... Yeah,
I know what the reference is.
Yeah, but this Jamoke doesn't.
Pravda, and you guys know what Pravda is. That is linked with Russian journalism.
I work for the New York Times. I'm linked with American journalism. Come on. This is CNBC. They should know.
Problem with these tweets in terms of the suggestion that there are some reports that are out about Tesla that are negative because, quote unquote, mainstream media is owned by fossil fuel companies or big automakers. Guys, you and I have been in this business a long time. I'm not sure I've ever come across a journalist who has said, well, you know what? It'd be good to do a negative story on Tesla because a particular automaker advertises with us.
Oh, false premise. No, they'd never say that. They'd say, maybe you shouldn't write that. Or maybe the editor would say, no, I'm not letting that one through. Well, let me finish 26 seconds.
I've never heard of that. I've never seen that. And yet at the same time, Elon Musk feels like his company does not get a fair shake by a number of the mainstream publications. Ben Callow was out with a note today from Baird saying, look, there's too much negativity surrounding Tesla and its stock, and people are overlooking the fundamentals that are there. So this is Elon Musk once again.
You're overlooking the fundamentals of the business. That's the best thing I've heard. You mean they're losing $1 billion a month? Is that your fundamentals of the business? Before you comment on the journalism thing, here's another quick part. As they discuss this now amongst themselves.
Absolutely right to state that point. Clearly, there is a significant firewall between the kind of advertising sales departments of any news organization and the journalists themselves. And for them to imply otherwise completely misses the integrity and the point of various news organizations.
So the integrity, you're missing the point about works.
Either way, I guess in a sense, his rant and ramble here on these tweets is not dissimilar from something we hear from the president quite often. That he feels like he's a victim of fake news.
Correct. And much like the president, when Elon Musk feels that either he or his companies, particularly Tesla, are being attacked unfairly, he doesn't sit there and take it. He fires back and goes after those who come after his company, and he goes after them with a vengeance. And now his supporters and investors in Tesla, they love it because their belief is he is fighting for his company. Here's another one of his tweets. Even if some of the public doesn't care about the credibility score, if he were to make up credibility scores, the journalists, editors, and publications will. It is how they define themselves. So, again, it gets back to his belief that a number of media outlets do not accurately portray Tesla and the development of its vehicles, where they are with the Model 3, etc.
Absolutely. He's absolutely right about that. Of course he is.
Well, the joke of this is a couple things. One, it is laughable to say that advertisers don't affect coverage. If somebody's advertising a lot and they're very friendly, they're always showing up and buying dinners and things. I mean, it's going to affect the way you cover them. But that's beside the point with this, because the thing that he's really grousing about, which is, and he's blaming these journalists, whatever they're called. It was actually a report in, of all things, Consumer Reports, which has no advertising. It's all based on subscriptions. There is no outside influence. So he's full of shit when it comes to this stuff. And it's very annoying that people, don't call him out. But let's play this clip. This is the Tesla Model 3. This is about the Consumer Reports saying that the brakes on the Model 3 stink.
Well, Tesla CEO Elon Musk is promising a remote fix after Consumer Reports failed to recommend the Tesla Model 3.
7 on your sides, Michael Finney is here with that, plus more. Michael.
Consumer Reports says we're all ears. Right. I mean, that's what's interesting about this. In testing, Consumer Reports found the car's brakes performed worse than a Ford pickup truck F-150. Musk tweeted that an update in the next few days should fix the car's braking capabilities. He also said Consumer Reports had an early production model and that the Model 3 now has improved ride comfort and other issues are taken care of. Consumer Reports says it would be open to retesting a car and that it would be an industry first if Tesla could actually improve brake performance remotely.
So This is the real issue here, and he's scrambling because he wants to do all these, put up a website condemning journalists who criticize.
Yes, yeah, he wants to have a Yelp of
meanwhile,
journals.
This is Consumer Reports, which is as neutral. There is no journalism involved here. It's simple testing.
Oh, man. So this whole thing is based on that premise that Consumer Reports said his car sucks?
Yeah.
And he calls those journos? Actually, they are journos.
He's thinking. I think he's deluded.
You think?
I also think that he's in serious trouble with this car.
Oh,
a couple of
it's
things
too
from
expensive. It's going to be $70,000 instead of $30,000.
Well, he can't make enough of them because they can't make any of them. There's something wrong with
it. Doesn't work.
Kind of doesn't work.
My AI here is the Tesla 3 of talking tubes. That's pretty much where we're at with this thing.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
You can remotely fix it.
Yes.
Now, and this idea of remotely fixing brakes, because people think of it as mechanical, is okay. Maybe he's going to do something by
the algo, man, the braking algo.
Change some braking algo, which makes it really creepy, if you ask me. Because then you can also make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of all these remote fixes. But the thing that I think is going to kill it is if you look at the Model 3 with its very nondescript, it looks like a boat in front. It's really not a pretty car.
No, it's not.
And that's because I believe
the Fisker guy left.
The Fisker guy gave up on working with him after Musk himself condemned Fisker's auto operation, saying it's the worst company ever or something. He said something very disparaging. And Fisker, who designed the Model S, and I believe made the company as big as it is, and the model, the other one, the X, is just kind of a variation. I think that getting rid of Fisker was the biggest mistake. But
Fisker walked, and he
told him to keep
pissed him
designing
off.
these cars.
He pissed him off.
The guy's a genius designer.
Yeah, but I think Elon pissed him off. He left. He wasn't fired.
So too. Yeah, he pissed him off. He was never working for him. He was just a contractor. But I think he's done.
I agree.
And now he's got this dog, this Model 3, and I don't know what he's going to do.
As I was watching those reports, I thought to myself, pay close attention because this will be the Edsel of our times.
Could be.
I received a note here from Sir Nubbin. He was in the troll room, and he sent his note to noagenda@noagenda.com or something. No. Send it to adam@curry.com or john@dvorak.org. That's where you want to send your notes. It's the only way that's worked reliably since the beginning of time.
Yes.
In the morning, gents, Sir Nubbin here in honor of my dad's birthday. He's on the list. His dad's birthday today and the 102nd running of Indianapolis 500. I need goat karma from my father that has health problems before going on a missions trip. All right. No jingles, just the goat karma. You got it.
You've got karma.
There you go.
So that's certain up.
I also got a note from someone. I should have saved that note somewhere. Screw you and Dvorak with your animal hate. I'm unsubscribing.
What animal hate is he referring to?
Well, I have incredible...
you hate dogs. I don't hate dogs.
I have incredible disdain for the owners of dogs because they're treating them like human beings, and it's encroaching, and it's a problem. But it does not. It's interesting that people think I hate. Well, you started that. Thank you very much.
Dogs are people too.
I have a couple of examples. I have some good examples today. Yes, some very good ones. Let us start with a recent episode of Shark Tank, everyone's favorite, where you go pitch your ideas, you ask for some money, and I think that they are a very modern show. It comes on CNBC in the evening. It's nice. You can start watching it at like 6, and it's always fun to see if Mark Cuban will invest or he'll be really honest with somebody. And this was just a fabulous idea, which I hope they become very, very, very successful with.
First into the tank is a business hoping to make life with a new little one easier.
Hey, Sharks. We're excited to be here. My name is Ben. This is my wife, Ariel.
And this is our daughter, Maggie.
And we are the founders of Pupbox. We're here today seeking $250,000 in exchange for 10% of our company. Pupbox is changing the way puppy owners raise their fur babies.
Nobody anticipates how difficult and how stressful bringing a new puppy into their home can be. We experienced this firsthand when we adopted our precious daughter, Maggie.
See, the problem is that with so many product options in the big box stores, it's hard to find the best products for your baby's changing needs.
We created Pupbox to make puppyhood easier for puppy parents like ourselves by delivering everything a new puppy owner needs on a monthly basis.
Each month, our subscribers get a box that includes 5 to 7 products that range from toys and treats to grooming tools and accessories. A training guide is also included to let you know what's going on with your puppy and what you should be doing to keep up. Everything's customized for your puppy's developmental stage and physical characteristics. Pupbox will walk you through every stage of your puppy's development.
Through the potty training blues,
chewing on shoes,
and terrible twos.
Give us 1 second to pass out samples.
That's what I have to
say. Our daughter.
Our daughter. Oh yeah, she said our daughter.
Disgusting.
You gotta potty train your daughter, and your daughter will go through the terrible twos. Come on. But there are people much smarter than you and I who are actually starting businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses. We are a bunch of chumps because we identified this trend so early. We could have been all over this one.
Fake balls are a real business, and Greg Miller has made a fortune in the weirdest place ever. A dog's private parts.
What I'm doing is developing testicular implants for pets.
64-year-old Greg Miller calls his home outside Kansas City the house that Nudicles built. As his bulldog Humphrey runs around the place, and you'll hear him breathing in the background a lot, Miller explains he created Nudicles over 20 years ago when his first dog, a bloodhound named Buck, ran away.
He was gone for 4 days. I'm going to start tearing up because, it was the most hideous 4 days of my life.
Buck was found, but he'd been chasing the scent of a female dog.
I thought, my God, if I don't get him neutered, this is going to happen again. So I called my local vet. I said, don't they make implants? He says, well, Greg, I've been a vet for 45 years, and that's the craziest damn thing I've ever heard of.
Do dogs really care?
Yes, they do. When Buck did get neutered that fateful day, I brought him home. He went to clean himself. He loved to do that. This slurping noise that was so freaking obnoxious. He looked down and saw that they were gone. He was telling me, they're gone. What happened?
Miller convinced the veterinarian to help him develop an implant for Buck and other dogs to make them feel whole, or to at least make their owners feel better about neutering them. It took 2 years and over $100,000 of his own money and money from a few local investors to develop and market Nudicles. The original Nudicles were made of a hard, plastic-like material.
So people started calling and saying, my dog's Nudicles are clacking when he walks. These are up to $469 a pair.
$469?
Yes.
Wow. The latest Nudicles are silicone with a textured surface to prevent scar tissue. Biggest animal you've Nudicled?
An elephant.
Ah, there you go. So, what a genius idea.
Yeah, if you're preoccupied with dog balls.
Well, that's why we didn't come up with it. Last clip, this is a serious one. Then I'm glad that I could finally get one of these on record. The problem with people really feeling privileged about their dog, and we're seeing now some backlash against the emotional support animals on airplanes. It really can put real service animals and their owners into odd situations. So there are people who absolutely need a service dog. Some is blind, but also if you're deaf. There's a number of reasons why you have an actual service dog that is approved that way and approved by the ADA. And this is what happened on a recent airline flight. And you'll see now the problems that real service dog owners, users, and the dogs themselves have.
Tonight, 2 families outraged and pointing the finger at each other after an incident with a service dog on a flight to Orlando spiraled out of control, leading to this. The owner of the service dog pushing a man he says hit his animal and pregnant wife. Passengers yelling, trying to intervene. Crying kids in the middle of it all. Assault me? It all allegedly began on this Frontier airline plane. In this cell phone video, you see Matthew Silve with his wife Hazel standing next to him. Both of them are deaf. Silve confronts Timothy Manley and his family, even kicking Manley, who is in his seat. Please. In a report filed by the Orlando Police Department, Silve says Manley punched his Great Dane service dog and his pregnant wife after the dog awoke and stood up. That's a charge Manley denies.
My wife right next to me has allergies to dogs, and I had to push the dog away.
Airlines have recently been trying to get a better grip on how to handle service animals on flights. Delta, United, and American all recently changing their policies. Tonight, the owners of the service dog want charges filed. Frontier Airlines say police were immediately notified to try and de-escalate the situation. Police have referred this to the FBI.
So the way I understand this was an actual service dog, and the airline should facilitate the service dog and also make sure that if someone around them where they're going to be sitting has an allergy, because, oh my God, no peanuts on the flight, that they need to know that maybe you should notify, because there can be actual service animals. And I know exactly this is someone who might have been like me, although I would understand, hey, this is a service animal, a real one. Anyway, hey, get out of here, you stupid Great Dane! Ah! And that's what happened. An irritated guy. And it's because of all this crap that's going on and all the privileged a-holes bringing their emotional support animals onto the aircraft.
I think you've made your point.
Fake balls are a real business.
Dogs are people, too.
Fake balls are a real business is the clip.
It is the clip.
That's the ISO.
It's the ISO. Yes, it is. Believe me. Anyway. Good. We need to have an honest combo about what's going on. Real service animals they're important to people.
I have a note to read. So this is from a dude named Muhammad Ali. And he sent in a boobs donation in this last show.
You're taking me away. You're taking me away from the dogs, man. But okay.
Oh, you got more dog stuff?
Well, I had some notes, but it's okay. I just have one note.
Well, read your note.
All right. It's from Adriana. I love Adriana Oporto. You remember her? She's donated.
Yeah.
John Adam, want to send you guys a quick note regarding my personal experience with dogs as a millennial. I'm a 27-year-old female in the Bay Area in Hayward, right up the road from you, John. I find that a lot of single guys around my age are obsessed with their dogs. I recently realized I have met quite a few recently who have dogs, mostly female dogs, that they revolve their life.
Implying
that they revolve their life around and are very close to. It is almost like the dog is taking the place of a girlfriend, giving loyalty and affection without any of the complications that come with human relationships. In addition, it has become a common occurrence on dating apps such as Tinder, OkCupid, etc., to see these guys feature pictures of their dogs and make a point to mention it in their profile. Apparently, modern young women are drawn to the dogs as much as their owners, and it is a key selling point on the hot or not swiping marketplace. Now that I'm aware of this, it has become obvious that dogs are secretly planning to take over society by infiltrating our lives to the fullest extent. It's creeping me out. I've been a listener for 3+ years. Keep up the good work. There is an ever-expanding need for the knowledge and deconstruction you provide, and it is much appreciated. Adriana Oporto. John, thank you for being the only person to ever pronounce my full name correctly on the first try, and also know the Portuguese origin of my last name. Okay.
No, that was anticlimactic.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you had the dog ball thing going on, and now you got just somebody complaining.
It's new information.
So I got a note, too. It's from a dude named Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
Now, this guy sends 888. And the reason I want to bring this up is because this is something that was kind of happening with you. And there used to be this guy that was doing news stories about, I think his name was Thomas Johnson. And every time they brought a bunch of these Thomas Johnsons on the 60 Minutes show, and they were all having the same hassle with the TSA no-fly list.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy, Muhammad Ali, he says, and I say, so PayPal pulls, oh, no, we can't take him. Oh, he's under investigation. So I sent him a note back. I said, they won't take your thing. And I says, because you mentioned, I believe because he mentioned Ramadan and it had some comments in there.
Right.
He says, Ramadan in the comment had nothing to do with the hold, he says. PayPal always puts a hold on all my transactions. Whenever I purchase from eBay, donate to No Agenda, or purchase good from other websites using PayPal, I always get the messages below. I think it's just my name that triggers their system because whenever I travel, my boarding pass always has SSSS, secondary screening selection.
It's obvious. He has a terrorist name, and he looks like a terrorist.
He might look like one, or might not.
It's for his protection.
In addition, wherever I go through immigration, when arriving in the United States, I'm instantly sent to the secondary immigration, and I'm a U.S. citizen.
I've been there a lot as a U.S. citizen. And here's the thing you don't say. You don't hold up your passport and say, doesn't this give me the right to enter the country? That's a very bad thing to say. It's cost me several hours of waiting around in that little room.
I have my rights.
With the mismatched furniture. It's not a good thing to do. Well, I'm sorry about that, man. This sucks.
Now,
no one ever talks about that.
No.
You know what?
He says he's going to write checks, which brings me to the check writing comment I've been meaning to make for the last few weeks.
Okay.
You don't get the newsletter, you wouldn't know this. This is the problem we're having. We are getting probably less checks than we have for a while, and less cards and other notes, which we actually enjoy. Got a couple today. If you want to send a check to the show instead of go through one of the systems, PayPal or Pop Money or whatever, you write, and the check should be made to No Agenda Show or just No Agenda. And they are mailed to Box 339, El Cerrito, that's ELCERRITO, California, 94530. That's Box 339, El Cerrito, California, 94530. You can back this tape up if you need to.
Just hit rewind on the tape.
On the tape.
You can also use a pencil, insert it into the little hole, and just spin it back.
Now, so for people that don't know that, because a lot of people just will not refuse to get the email. They don't want the email. They stop subscribing once they get it. They don't get to see the pictures of the Stormy Daniels clone and some of these other things that we have. Or the email gets lost. They never get the email. I've run into people like that because you can check on who's ever opened the email.
You're tracking them.
Well, MailChimp's tracking them. I'm just looking at the data. So anyway, I'm sorry about that. We do have we have a lot of Muslim listeners with Middle Eastern names, and I'm sure he's not.
Yeah, they all get boned.
They all get boned.
No, it's horrible. I mean, it would almost make you want to go to Bitcoin for him.
Yeah, maybe. Muhammad Ali.
That'll be the day, huh, John?
Yes?
That'll be the day, I said.
What day?
That we take Bitcoin.
Well, we should have taken it when we had the opportunity.
Nah. Well, there were no exchanges, to be fair. I guess now it's easier, but yeah.
Yeah, but now it's ludicrous.
Yeah.
All right.
I have some backup on, we have, of course, producers everywhere, and I've been talking about the issue with the H-2B visas and how it is affecting certain types of businesses in the United States. Have a listen to this, and let's see if we can come up with some obvious solutions.
As these shiny silver tables inside places like Russell Hall Seafood and Hooper's Island lie waiting, so do watermen in other Eastern Shore counties.
We can't sell our crabs.
Like Bunky Chance.
It's not upon us yet, but it's fast approaching, and if something doesn't break loose, we're going to all be highly impacted.
After a record number of H-2B applications filed this year, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security turned to a lottery system, leaving many Hooper's Island crab houses empty. Chance says the impact of no crab pickers this season will soon reach north into Talbot and Queen Anne's County, for example, and the rest of Maryland, not just for watermen, but consumers too.
It's a very delicate balance that can be thrown out of kilter.
Chance says without crab pickers, smaller and lighter crabs will soon flood the market, mixing in with the larger marketable crabs, making it, yes, cheaper to buy crabs, but also less bang for the buck.
And they are legal crabs. It's just the quality's not quite as good.
Most of the pickers would be here by now. It should have been here about 2 weeks ago.
And like the watermen, Dorchester County Councilman Tom Bradshaw says with their hands tied at the local and federal levels, they're waiting too.
We as a council, there's nothing we can do about it except stay in constant contact with our federal leaders.
Waiting for the release of 15,000 more visas that could finally bring the crab pickers here. But even then,
I don't even think it would be a drop in the bucket.
Chance says the situation is bad.
It's potentially very bad.
Getting worse as the clock ticks by.
Now, you would know more about this. But what do crab pickers do?
But before you go on, a couple of things about that clip. One, there's a variation of a clip that you played on the last show about this crab issue.
No, I had no clip.
Oh, you discussed it then.
Yes, that's what I said. I have some backup on what I was telling you on the last show.
But let's go back to where this came from. What kind of a report, what kind of a package is this where you say like 2 words and then you throw in some, we got nothing going on. And then you say 2 more words. Buddy, there's
a lot of this. I'm seeing a lot of this. In fact, 1 or 2 of your clips had it as well. Really quick, sometimes whipsaws. It's like the whipsaw taken to the extreme, and they're just boom, throwing it in.
Every voice was offensively dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when any report out of Texas that goes to the national news is somebody wants to text
this was Maryland. This was Maryland.
Yeah, well, they sure make them sound like a bunch of hicks in Maryland too.
Yeah,
and because apparently all the crab guys are all talk like this because they can barely talk anyway. So I found that offensive. I mean, you could tell the report and maybe have 1 or 2 people talk, not 10. And okay, so you have a point to make about what can be done about this.
Yeah, well, I had a question first. What exactly does a crab picker do?
Picks crabs?
From where? From the ocean? From a bunch?
I'm assuming there's I don't know, but I'm assuming, and I'm speaking out of my ass, that you're on a boat and you go out and there's a big net where there's crab traps, and you pick them out of the water and put them on the boat and you take them back into the shore. I mean, it's got to be something like that.
So why can't?
Or there's a big bin of crabs and you just pick them and sell them to somebody.
It seems like this is an opportunity for someone who has a big student loan. There's no one else who can do this?
Anybody who wants a job.
There's no one else who can do this. We can't feed. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to have shit crab in the market because no one wants to pick the crab. Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Because everyone has a college degree and we can't do this?
This is a bunch of guys whining because they won't pay the extra 50 cents an hour.
Is that the problem, though? That's my question. I'm sure we have people who understand crabbing. In fact, maybe Dame Elise Garling does. Did you get a limoncello?
I did. Best yet.
Oh, you've tried it. I haven't tried it yet. But she sent us limoncello with organic lemons from her aunt's place in Central Coast, California. And she, of course, is the... she calls herself the limoncello babe, but she is really she's about to go to Bristol Bay, Alaska, because she fishes for salmon.
Woman.
Yeah, she's a salmon fisher. So maybe someone can tell us how much you can make. I thought on the Deadliest Catch, those guys are making bank on the damn boat. It's like a highly paid job.
We have to look into this. We need an expert out there.
Yeah, exactly. I know you always think, why is he going on about that? But there's something here. It's there's something.
Well, I don't think it's just the crabs thing. It's just
it's
cheap alien workers is what these guys are looking for.
Oh, that's what I'm curious about. I can see if it was nuts and berries and stuff that's picked in your neck of the woods.
That was the big charge that was going on against Silicon Valley, where they bring all these Indians in. And don't you remember that there's almost for years we'd hear, of course, these guys are all out of jobs now.
Yeah.
Guys saying, I was working here at some chip company in Silicon Valley, and I was told I have to train my replacement, who's a guy from India with an H-1B, and I'm out.
Yeah, I remember that note. All right, well,
there's a lot of this that was going on. I think it just continues.
I'd like to know. For sure, the Obamas do not have to resort to crab picking any more than they're already doing. Here is the latest news on them.
Yesterday on Twitter.
This is from, wait a minute, TMZ. Wrong one. Here we go. TMZ.
We're going to move over Ron Howard, Brian Glazer, because the Obamas are coming to town.
Well, slow down, Harvey, before you start celebrating. But yes, former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama have signed a deal to produce a lot of content. Sounds like pretty much anything they want.
Scripted, unscripted, documentaries, all sorts of things. The company is called Higher Ground Productions, and they are going to be producing presumably a slew of programming.
So they are officially in showbiz.
They are in show business, hook, line, and sinker. And this, and by the way, you got to admit,
all right, the subtext here,
give me a little here.
If you've missed it, and I don't know how you did because he's been barking about it for a year now.
For a year.
That he believes that Barack Obama will be running a studio sometime in the near future.
One thing that the Obamas are going to have, if you ask me, are a flood of the finest talent in all of Hollywood, begging to work with them.
Yep.
And so, like, there's no excuses for this thing not to be a success, which I'm sure that it will be, because they're going to have their pick of people in this town to work with over the last 8 years who've looked up to them.
Sounds like a studio to me, folks.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that. I also hadn't heard that Harvey said that. But that's a pretty good prediction.
Here's the rub. Obama's never worked a day in his life, never worked at a job, never worked at a company, never done anything like this, let alone he hasn't even been a paper boy, from what I can tell. And he's going to do this. This is going to not be successful. He's going to blow all the money, and he's going to.
Are you putting this in the book? Is this a red booker?
Okay, I'll put in the red book that this production company within 5 years will be out of business.
First of all, I think Barry and Mike, they could put out the biggest turd, and the first movie everyone will go see.
Maybe.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll go and see it.
No.
But I hadn't considered him being a studio head. Why not?
Yeah, just be up there.
Running a studio cannot be much different from community organizing.
I would agree with that.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And we do have some people to thank for show 1036, including Andres Fortuna, who came in. He's all Fortuna, by the way. $133.33. He says this donating thing is as addictive as cocaine. I had to do it again.
Yes, this is a good meme.
Yeah, I like it.
There's one thing he said. I think you might have gotten sidetracked during the show with the advice, or maybe you forgot. If you get a chance during the next show or a short response to this email would be appreciated. As always, thanks for the service you provide for Brain Sanity. I'm a $4 a week producer since 2015. Every bit counts. That was, he sent 133.33, and he became a knight on the previous show. And he needed some travel karma for the family and himself. He says, no, just kidding. For the family. Huh? Oh, fam. I got you, fam. Okay, we'll put that at the end. Thank you very much, Andres.
Sir Donald of the Fire Bottles, the Baron of Silicon Valley.
Spokane Valley.
Borowski, who's Spokane. Yeah. Let's just pronounce Spokane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sent a note in, and we have to read because it's on the United Federation of Planets Starfleet Command.
That's our guy. That's our guy. Yeah.
Dear Wheeler and Woolsey, this donation marks the completion of my nightly quest, listening to all the No Agenda episodes. I know that John especially does not recommend this, but I found it worthwhile to observe how the program developed. An example, I thought that Adam's mispronunciation of celebrettes was his own invention.
It was.
But discovered that he borrowed it from an announcer on China TV.
Oh, sure. Oh, no, you're right. He is right. That's where we got it from.
That's where you got it from.
Yes. I wonder if we... The question is, do I still have that? No, I don't think so. No. But yeah.
Cheers and Beers WA60MI 73.
73 is Kilo 5 Alpha Charlie.
So it's funny how we lose track of the origins of certain things that are part and parcel of the show.
Yes.
Ian Field, 100. Michael Mandel, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, 100. Christopher Hinkle, 100. This is your sustaining contribution. Noel Vincenti. Now, this is another guy who sent in a note. He sent $100 in from Roxbury, New Jersey, your old stomping grounds.
Not quite,
and
but
I had to read this. I was listening to DH Unplugged when John mentioned how the U.S. Postal Service, post office, can do money orders. That's when I felt so stupid. I ran out of checks, and that's what stopped me from donating. I always have cash at hand, and it's so easy for me to go to the local post office. The show is so important to me in my time. I don't need to watch any news, and when I do, I can see the BS that they feed me. Keep up the great work. So I realized that a lot of people didn't know that the post office has mail. You can get mail orders, money orders.
Well, it's concerning that he stopped donating because he ran out of checks. That's a concern right there. I mean, it's too much friction. There's too much friction in the world to support the show. Oh my goodness! Wow,
it's wild.
Yes, a U.S. money order is totally possible.
The postal money order is
postal money order.
Boob. Yeah. Dude named Muhammad Ali, our buddy.
There he is.
Who just read the note from 8008.
And it's a belated Ramadan Mubarak to all the Muslim producers.
Mark Milliman, 8008. He says, "What a depressing newsletter." Thank you. Thank you very much. Sir Brian Kaufman in Scottsdale, Arizona, 7575. Curtis Barton, 6969. Stephen Wittig in Fall Creek, Wisconsin, 69. Eric Bird in Baltimore, Maryland, 6666. Catherine from San Francisco, 6652. Personal note set to Adam. Scott Richardson, 6006 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Or Nolans or New Orleans or whatever you want to call it. Sir Jude, 5555. Now the following are $50 donors. We don't have a lot of donors today. Starting with Sir Patrick Maycom in New York City. Mike Shane in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Alex Delgado in Aptos, California. James Butcher in Dalwallinu, Washington, Western Australia. Mitchell Kaufman in Hillsboro, Oregon. Kenneth Lindberg in Miami, Florida. Daniel LeBoy in Bath, Michigan. John Prebuz in Washington, D.C. That's it. That concludes our group of well-wishers for show 1036.
Okay. Well, I'm just making a note here.
Yeah, and I'm making the same note.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're making notes. We're taking notes. We're taking names. Is what we do. Thank you to everybody who supported the show today. It is incredibly appreciated. We love doing the show. We love it. We just love it. So you keep us going, and that's appreciated. Another show coming up for you on Sunday. Please remember us for your postal money orders at Dvorak.org/NA. As requested.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Yeah, we got a couple of birthdays to celebrate. Two today and one on May 26th. That'll be Tertius, and he says happy birthday to his favorite brother, Francois. He turns 40 on May 26th. Curtis Barton celebrates today. He gave himself some Swazelnoff 6969 karma for that. And Sir Nubbin says happy birthday to his dad, who celebrates today as well. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. And let me grab my blade, and if you could get yours, we got a dame and a knight on the way. Put down the bongos.
I got it.
Up on stage, please. ladies, Chris Dillon, Sandra Langston, both of you are about to join the illustrious roundtable of the Knights and Dames here at the No Agenda Roundtable because of your support of the program in the amount of $1,000 or more. And I hereby proudly pronosticate thee, Sir John, and Dame Mello. You now join as a night and a day in the No Agenda Roundtable for you. We've got hookers and blow-rimp boys and Chardonnay, Pog and Poi, Dame Elise Limoncello and salmon, rabbit meat and goat milk, Dr. Peppy and a quick handy. We got bourbon and bong rips, brisket and barrel-aged copper ale, Rubenesque, Rumen and rosé, geishas and sake, ginger ale and gerbils, sparkling cider and escorts, and mutton and mead, all available here at the Roundtable. Go over to noagendanation.com/rings, fill out the forms. Eric the Show will get your ring to you as soon as possible. Please think about tweeting it out when you get it in. We love seeing that. And again, thank you for making everything possible here. Without it, we would be nowhere.
We'd be doing something else.
We would be doing something else. I wasn't going to do this story, but now I have a reason to. Did you see that lady who had stalked the guy with 65,000 text messages?
Yeah, that's not new to story. That was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about a week and a half ago. But the thing that I didn't realize is she had all these crazy things about 33.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's a real numerology.
All I know is I always thought it was kind of an interesting story that she was a stalker. She just drives this guy crazy.
Yeah. But then when you hear her talk about the number 33, it's like, whoa.
Hi, guys. Hi. I'm Jackie. Okay. You want to ask me questions? Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Why don't you start from the beginning? How did you wind up here?
I wound up here on a road trip, and I was following the number 33. I used to wake up every day and every night at 3:33. It was always 3:33, 3333. So I kept following the number, and I said, why am I following the number 33? And I spoke to a psychic, and she told me I have the same birth chart as Jesus. So then I said, okay. I look up Jesus. He was 33 when he came to be. So I was like, that's a 33. My left eye axis is 33. The location I came from in Miami was 33111, the zip code. This zip code here, not the coordinates on the map, it's 33111. So he said, you should probably go to Sedona. It's in Arizona. I said, I never heard of it. It's the 33rd most spiritual place. Then I find out he does stuff for the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea has 33% salt in it. Walt Disney's club is called Club 33. They're called this because the location of Atlantis is inside the earth. The coordinates are 3333.
Once, twice, 33 times are crazy. And I love you.
Oh, man. We have the best producers. Sir Chris, of course, in Australia. Full version available at the end of this program.
No. Oh my God, no, I love him so much. I just want to love him so much, that's it. And if he doesn't like it, then I'll go home and I'll love my ex-boyfriend.
I couldn't believe she had more 33 references than I've ever even come up with. It was fantastic.
I don't know. I think we covered most of those except for the Atlantis.
I didn't know about the eyeball. It's on a 33.
No, it's her eyeball she was talking about.
Well, she had something like a 33 degree axis, or I don't know. But 33, what a magic number.
It helps.
Let's see if we can trigger anybody.
That's a magic number.
Go stalk. Go stalk.
The magic number.
We have people that donate because they get a bill or go to the grocery store and the bill's $33.33.
Or they get parking spot 33, or there's all seat number 33.
Yeah, it's very triggering.
33 sections on the United Nations map. We could go on forever.
Yes, and we probably will.
Did you see Did you see? Just as an aside, did you see the Russian World Cup doll?
Yeah, I did.
The one with the whistle?
No, let me see. Let me look again because somebody was telling me how.
So it's one of these.
You've never seen the Atlanta Olympics doll, but
this is one of the quintessential souvenirs. I always call them babushka dolls, but that's not it. It's the Majerstroika. What is that? Majerstroika.
Yeah, it's a babushka doll.
That's one fits into the other.
Yeah,
Now,
the nesting dolls.
Now, now take a look at the picture. I'm sure you've seen the nesting doll for the World Cup. I believe that's meant to be a whistle in the doll's mouth.
Is this the one that's got like a fox or something on a blue background?
Well, the doll is blue, is holding a soccer ball, and is blowing on the whistle.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Now look at that. Look at the whistle again.
Well, he's not blowing on anything in the doll I'm looking at.
Oh, you got the wrong doll.
He's just the side. It says Russia 2018 got the soccer doll. And he's like.
Yeah, I'm going to send it to you on the Skype.
I don't even know he's holding a whistle. It looks like he's doing a thumbs up.
I just send a link to you on Skype.
I like this little fox, though.
Get the link on Skype.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be worth it. I mean, it's a visual gag.
You sure this would? Now that I see all these things, I'm up. I've got images up. Are you sure you haven't been suckered by a hoax?
Anything is possible, but it doesn't matter. It's a real image.
I got one with a bunch of. It starts off with a bunch of bathing beauties.
Yeah. Now scroll down.
Oh, this thing.
Yeah.
With the thing in its mouth.
With the whistle.
Yeah.
Or is it a whistle?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's very. It looks like a red penis with balls.
Yes.
Dog balls.
Yes. Yes. You don't think that's true?
I'm wondering whether it's true.
Well, this is coming from RT, so.
RT, question mark. Was raunchy Russian World Cup doll causes blushes on internet. Well, I don't know if this is the official doll. That's the problem.
I don't know either, but I thought it was funny.
And then they have the Russian team in cartoon form all sucking on this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny. You should put that in the show notes.
Yeah, of course it's in the show notes. Hello. People only go to the show notes for porn, and you can search at search.nashownotes.com. Find your Russian nesting doll porn.
Glad but that's our lewd segment for today's show.
That's about all I got for lewdness.
I like this little fox animal, though, or whatever it is. Looks like a dog, maybe.
I haven't seen that one.
Anybody can get me one of those, that would be appreciated. The FIFA World Cup Russia official mascot souvenir wolf plush toy.
Yum.
It's only $17 on eBay. All right. I got one for you. This is the galls me clip.
Okay.
I hate this. Eggs are now good.
Oh, yeah.
Back with some news to keep in mind for breakfast tomorrow morning. There's been a lot of back and forth over the years about whether eggs are good or bad because of their cholesterol. But a new study published today by the BMJ journal Heart claims eating an egg a day may reduce your cardiovascular risk and cut your risk of stroke by 26%.
Wait a minute. First, we're told not to eat eggs at all because they're horrible.
Yes,
and now we're supposed to eat one a day.
Hold on a second. After the eggs are horrible, you're going to die, they formed the Egg Council of America. And then they decided that it would be better to spend some money and have people talk.
So in other words, what you're telling me is that it's all this, everything we hear is all bull crap. It's all dependent on how much money people spend to kind of make their point.
You nailed it.
Well, I'm disgusted.
You nailed it. Yeah, I follow a lot of the amateur, of course, you and I are both hams, licensed amateur radio professionals.
Yes.
I love that. Amateur radio professionals.
Which makes no sense, but it sounds
I follow
good.
a lot of the satellite stuff. I've done some space shuttle, bouncing stuff off and the repeater, and there's all kinds of fun stuff. But there was a group who wanted to launch, I think it's 4 tiny satellites that would be used for internet connectivity to beam down to Earth, and they're called Space Bees. And I didn't know this, but if you want, you can't just buy a spot on Elon's payload and launch some satellites into space. You have to have a license from the FCC. I didn't know that they oversee satellite launches, and they had told.
There is broadcasting going on.
Well, they had told this outfit you're not allowed to, and they launched them anyway. And so they're up there, and there's a couple of hams who have been, they're sending little blips out, so they're hearing, and it's on the frequency, apparently, that is expected. So they're there, and I don't know if they're actually going to do, well, you know, Swarm Technology is the name of the company. And their idea, again, was to provide, you know, some blanket internet. I don't think you can do it with 4 satellites, but I didn't know that the FCC is in charge of that. You can't just send stuff into space. Isn't space like where everybody's in space? I mean, is
I don't know that this story is correct.
Well, the FCC believes it is.
Well, maybe some aspects, but I don't believe the Defense Department, when they send up those spy satellites, has to clear it with the FCC.
No,
because then they would be giving information away that's top secret.
Now, I'm sure they can do whatever they want, but as a civilian, you can't do that, apparently. Must be some good stuff going on up there.
Well, I'll tell you this. Inside Russia's first sex robot brothel is open to woo Randy England fans heading to the World Cup.
Thanks. You're doing complete different work during the show.
Sorry.
Completely different stuff.
This is a disgusting story in the Sun. All right.
Let me see. I've got, Oliver North getting laughed at universally.
For what?
Well, he is now the president of the National Rifle Association.
Oh, geez.
He's in charge of this, so that is a strike against him right there. And boy, he's out there saying things that are just crazy.
The problem that we've got is we're trying like the Dickens to treat the symptom without treating the disease. And the disease in this case isn't the Second Amendment. The disease is youngsters who are steeped in a culture of violence. They've been drugged in many cases. Nearly all of these perpetrators are male. And they're young teenagers in most cases. And they've come through a culture where violence is commonplace. All we need to do is turn on a TV, go to a movie. If you look at what has happened to the young people, many of these young boys have been on Ritalin since they were in kindergarten. Now, I am certainly not a doctor. I'm a Marine.
So he says, hey, you know, these kids, and it's true. Boys in particular, you're all boy-like. Hey, you're crazy, kid. Yes, settle down. To get them on the Ritalin, get them on early. And then maybe expand that later when they get depressed from being on Ritalin. Give them some other stuff, Zoloft or Xanax. Yeah, but he's being ridiculed for it. Yep.
Yeah, I wonder who's behind that.
March on.
Companies?
Drug companies, march on. You know, the same guys who hate Elon. I mean, it's all the same. It's a cabal of guys sitting there in their ivory tower, just doing whatever they want to do. Don't care about us.
All right, well, on to odd stories. Another one involving a male. This is a crazy story floating around. This is the parent evicts their own son.
Mark and Christina Rotondo telling a judge through an attorney that their 30-year-old son must move out of their home.
They have no obligation to provide support. He's well over the age of 21.
In a lawsuit, they say they have sent him 5 letters in the past 2 months, like this one. You must leave this house immediately, telling him you have to work, even giving him more than $1,000 to find a new place.
There is no reason for these people to have him in their home.
Michael says he's planning to leave in a few months.
I'm not a burden to them in the home. They don't provide laundry or food. It's really a moot point for them to seek me to be ejected.
The judge, in the end, siding with the parents.
It sounded like you said you need to vacate today.
It sounded kind of like that, too, but that's just so ridiculous.
And, David, tonight Michael says he has his own web business and plans to appeal, but it did not go unnoticed that when he left the courthouse today, he went right back to his parents' house. David.
We'll see how long that lasts. Gio, thank you. When we come back tonight.
Why did you pick this clip? It's interesting, but doesn't seem nuts if the parents, like, get the hell out of the house.
I think it's interesting that they had to sue him. And I also think it's interesting this thing is they shouldn't worry about me. I got a web business.
Well, that's internet money, baby. Yeah, he's probably got a web business. He's doing webcam work, and he's collecting those electric scooters and charging them at night. He's golden.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the problem? He's gainfully employed.
No, I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting story. We have another one one of the things I got a kick out of was on PBS. they had some discussion about the NFL made a rule saying that everyone's going to have to stand, or they're going to get fined.
yeah. They finally said, well, it's always been in their rule book.
Well,
we read the rule book.
It has. That's funny. We noticed that before, but now they've made a big deal out of it. So this guy they had on, very unusual commentator on NewsHour with Judy, and LZ Granderson. He's a ex-football player. He's got dreads, and he's not easy to understand, but he makes all the points I've been making about this. And then I'm sorry. And now I got to follow up. So let's play what he says.
We're glad the owners met with players privately. We're glad they agreed to donate tens of millions of dollars to those causes. We just don't want politics on the field. What do you say to those folks?
Hold on a second. Stop playing the stop. This is not Judy. It's somebody else.
Thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, it's the Judy backup. It's the Judy real doll.
What do you say to those folks?
Stop playing the national anthem.
It's as simple as that.
I mean, the national anthem is politicizing sports. And oh, by the way, if you really are concerned about respecting or disrespecting the flag, then perhaps you should probably refamiliarize yourself with the U.S. flag code, because you'll see multiple violations that the NFL and other leagues, as a matter of fact, do in terms of how the flag is to be treated. We aren't supposed to be having football uniforms with flags on them. We aren't supposed to be having the flag laid down flat. We aren't supposed to be having the flag on tickets or on beer cans and things of that nature. All these things that you can find in an NFL stadium. So if you really want to stick to the rule of law about disrespecting the flag, then let's be authentic with it. I tend to think it's more about what the players are protesting than the actual protest itself.
Wow. I got a follow up too. Go ahead. You go. I got something to say about LZ.
Well, first of all, the guy's right. It's politicized. When you play the national anthem, stop playing it.
Correct.
Then also, the flag is treated like crap at these events. They have this huge flag. They let it hit the dirt. They pretty much drop it on the ground. And they have this big one. They roll out this giant flag a lot of times, and it's not done correctly. He's right. Everything that they do is a violation of the flag code. They're supposed to use it on the uniforms and all this other stuff. And then the real irony of this whole thing was a little clip. They put a little piece of information they played at the end of this, which was only since 2009 were the players on the field on any broadcast game. Before 2009, they were always in the locker room anyway, because the TV network couldn't time it with the players being out there and all the rest of it. So they had them stay inside. So this never would have been a problem if they stuck to the old way of doing things.
Okay. Couple of things. Yes. The flag code is violated all the time, but there have been some very important Supreme Court cases, and you can wear a flag and you can burn a flag and you do whatever you want. But it is certainly in violation of the flag code. This has nothing to do, and the owners, as far as I know, did not say this is violating flag code, and he just made that up because he just made it up. It has been a rule that they play the national anthem, players are meant to be there. There's certain conduct that is expected, and it's all because it's a TV show. And that guy was at least a part of the TV show. It's a TV show. And on our TV show, we're going to have America flags, and we're going to have all kinds of America stuff, and we're going to have jets flying over. It's a TV show. That's all that it is. And these guys don't want their TV show dictated by the actors they hire. It's that simple.
I think you're right.
Now, about the national anthem, which I completely credit you in saying that is on its way out. And I wasn't even going to play this clip, so I'll just play a little bit, then I'll shuttle to the end. This was Representative Keith Ellison, congressman from Minnesota, and I guess it was some rally, and he puts on a wig, and he's all dressed up like Trump, and he does, I'll give you a little bit of the song.
I'm a nice, honest man. I just want straight shooting. If I want to be called a stable genius, I just call my best friend Vlad Putin. Vlad Putin.
He could use a lot of help from Chris Wilson there in Australia.
I'm telling you should play the whole thing. This sounds very good. It almost sounds like a good counter to Let's Get Social.
Vlad Putin. My buddy Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin. that Vladimir Putin. But there was no collusion. I just won the vote fair and square.
Any collusion?
I didn't buy the election.
It goes on for quite a while. So I'm going to shuttle ahead.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, everyone's all happy. And then watch what he does. What are we going to do? Let's transition. Oh, you're so great. Woo! You made fun of him. Wow. Awesome. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just transition here, everybody. Let's get patriotic on your ass. Come on. Stand up, everybody. You know what to do. You know the word. Let's go.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island.
See? You were right. This land is your land. This land is my land. The new anthem. And they're promoting it everywhere.
Well, there's actually 4 or 5 options here. We have America the Beautiful, which is the one
I think this is the one.
This like no, that never will be the one because the right wingers will not accept a Pete Seeger, known communist.
No. It's not Pete Seeger. It's Arlo Guthrie, isn't it?
This land is your land. This land is my land. Look it up.
I'm pretty sure it's Arlo Guthrie, but I could be wrong. I'm afraid to use my AI now, so I'm just doing it old school. Are you looking anything up, or are you just waiting for me to do it?
I already know.
Woody Guthrie. I was right. Haha.
It's Woody Guthrie.
You dick. Okay. Fine. All right. Give me one more, John. We've got to get out of here. We got other things to do. Wow. Like watch the news.
There's the Cuban sound attack, which is kind of
you put that in the newsletter. I'm very interested what the latest is.
The U.S. State Department says that a diplomatic staffer in China has reported what it calls abnormal sensations of sound and pressure. It happened at the U.S. consulate in the southern city of Guangzhou. The department says the symptoms were similar to a mild concussion. The same unexplained ailment affected a number of Americans in Cuba last year.
Don't you find this peculiar?
And that, again, not reported on. So it's kind of the same thing. It was similar symptoms. Did they have dizziness and disorientation?
Yeah, and the pounding, the noise, the concussion results when you go to the doctor. They think you have a concussion. Brain damage. What's going on here?
Oh, simple. MK Ultra, baby.
I don't think they employed that tactic.
Yes. Well, they're not the only ones who are good at stuff. But now we got Gina running the CIA, so woo! Waterboarding and MK Ultra on deck. All right, everybody, thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Troll Room. It's appreciated. It really is. And thank you to our artists. Forgot to mention noagendaartgenerator.com. And thank you to our supporters. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. We'll be back on Sunday with another episode. And, as always, I'm coming to you from the 5x9 Cludio in the Common Law Condo, downtown Austin, Texas. Capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6 on the maps if you're looking for it. Governmental maps only. Until Sunday in the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the Zephyr was on time and everything's fine, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday right here on No Agenda. Until then, as always, adios, mofos. I need a cab.
Oh, cab. There's one. Hey.
Hi, guys. Hi. I'm Jackie.
Hi.
Okay. You want to ask me questions?
Yeah, no problem.
All right, go ahead.
Why don't you start from the beginning? How did you wind up here?
I wound up here on a road trip, and I was following the number 33. I used to wake up every day and every night at 3:33. It was always 3:33. 3:33.
Thanks for the magical 33. The number stuck in my mind. And now you took out twice, 33 times are crazy, and I love you. Yes, I'm once, twice, 33 times are crazy.
Face bags, Frenching the nut bags, roll up the douchebags, leaving my nut bags down on the face bags.
Be best.
Be better.
Be best.
Be better.
Be best.
Be better.
Be best. Be best.
Be better.
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 Be best. Best.
Be better.
Be best.
Well, do not gnaw on bones like a dog. Do not begin the meal by drinking.
Very important for our fellow citizens.
It is the mark of a drunkard. If you must break wind, cover it with the sound of a cough, as in... I've been talking, so...
That's what we all do, don't we? At our clubs and at our Oxbridge dinners.
Well,
the challenge is going to be on Saturday. There's eating out of a bowl. And providing you don't lean over, you know, and begin sort of touching Her Majesty.
You know? Well, do not begin the meal by drinking.
Very important for our fellow citizens.
It is the mark of a drunkard. If you must break wind, cover it with the sound of a cough, as in... I've been talking, so...
That's what we all do, don't we? At our clubs and at our Oxbridge dinners.
And providing you don't lean over, you know, and begin sort of touching Her Majesty.
The best podcast in the universe.
Mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Fake balls are a real business.